Chapter 11:11, discussing Ba Huang's geniuses. Lin Feng arrived on the periphery of Fortune City in just a month. There were 4 cities in the central part of the region and they each surrounded Fortune City. Each city had an ancient history and each even had their own emperor. Ba Huang province was gigantically vast. The people from Ba Huang knew of a few dozen emperors. Only in the 4 cities surrounding Fortune City, there were already 4 emperors. The northern part of Ba Huang province had many inhabitants, but only Tiantai had 2 emperors who were friends. Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu. In the rest of Ba Huang province, there was only 1 emperor per city, country, or region. Lin Feng arrived in one of the cities called Sword City. That city had been named after Emperor Wu Tianjian, a sword emperor. Emperor Wu Tianjian originally came from that city. 5,000 years ago, he had left that city, alone, to go and fight against the strongest cultivators of the province. 500 years after he left, he had become an emperor and had even become famous in the holy city. Another 500 years after that, he had disappeared from the continent. It was said that Emperor Wu Tianjian's descendant lived in a castle in that city. Even though he hadn't become an emperor yet, nobody dared underestimate him. According to legends, before Emperor Wu Tianjian disappeared, he had made it back to the city once and gave his clan a series of sword skills and techniques which attracted many people from the entire province. However, it was said that those people disappeared each time they came. Therefore, few people dared disturb Emperor Wu Tianjian's descendants. Lin Feng was in a restaurant and listening to the people around him. Even though there was still some time before the beginning of the event in Fortune City, there were still many strong cultivators in Sword City. "I can't wait to see what will happen in Fortune City this time," said someone sighing. Everybody can't wait. During each era, there aren't many people who have the abilities to become emperors. Some of them will even become great emperors. Geniuses have to fight for it, and a myriad of people will die in the process. Only those who can prove that they can become emperors will stand out. We'll see what happens. The diviner will tell us what to expect. I heard that the old emperor of the celestial palace of the immortals is getting too old and found someone to transmit his knowledge to. I wonder who it is. Whoever it is, that person is very lucky. Not only him, the watcher will come too. The person he will choose will also become an emperor. I wonder whom he will choose. I heard that too, but there isn't only one watcher. We'll see who can become the ultimate watcher. Many people were talking, many others were listening. In a place where people drank alcohol, it was easy to hear all the gossip. Therefore, that had become Lin Feng's habit when he needed to learn about something. The diviner is organizing an event in Fortune City again, the watcher will come out, the hunter also raised many assassins. I wonder if the cursor will come out too. Possibly. The celestial girl from the celestial land of alchemists has a celestial body, the one from Qifeng Mountain has an ancient phoenix body, the Buddhist monk from the celestial thunder temple is legendary too. Some people say the monk is a reincarnation of the Buddha. I have the feeling that a new era will start this time in Fortune City. When that person saw that everybody was listening to them, he couldn't help but say everything he knew. He felt proud and knowledgeable. You know so many things, dear friends. Who do you think will surpass everyone else this time? I am interested in your opinion because you seem so knowledgeable, somebody asked that person. That person had a few sips of alcohol and said, "It's hard to say. There are so many geniuses. There are some people who have all the best chances. For example, Yuan Fei, the great ape emperor's grandson, he has the strength of the 81 gigantic destruction rod spells. There's also Emperor Wu Tianjian's descendant, Jian Wu Bei, his sword skills and techniques are terrifying. There's also Shui Bagio from the celestial land of alchemists who has a celestial body. She's also extremely beautiful, by the way. What about you guys, who do you think will surpass everyone else?" The crowd was excited, many people were thinking. Indeed, there were too many geniuses in Ba Huang province. What about the geniuses from Tianlong Divine Castle, are you underestimating him? Said someone coldly at that moment. Suddenly, Everybody stopped talking in the bar. They looked at a table where several people shared similar distinct facial traits. Their eyes looked bestial, they had dragon chi. Those people were probably strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle. Who knows if Tianlong Divine Castle can compete with those people? We'll see, said someone indifferently. Those people groaned coldly and said, there are many geniuses in Tianlong Divine Castle. Gu Xiao is young, but has still broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer. He can defeat people of the 9th Tian Qi layer even. He also possesses a divine dragon body. Divine dragon body? The crowd was shocked. They knew that that person was exaggerating though. The divine dragon body was terrifying. It was the body of a bestial emperor and was similar to the phoenix body of the beautiful girl from Qifeng Mountain. Incredible. I didn't know that. Since it's that way, then Tianlong Divine Castle has a chance to compete with all the other geniuses, said that person smiling indifferently, unwilling to offend people from Tianlong Divine Castle. Tianlong Divine Castle's people were satisfied after they heard that. Of course, we have so many geniuses. Poor Tianjing City though, they sent some of their own people to Fortune City. That's suicidal. All the people from Tianlong Divine Castle suddenly started laughing. Everybody knew who they were talking about, Tianjing City's Tiantai. Emperor Yu and Emperor Shi's disciples. They had recruited disciples a short time before, but they didn't have enough experience yet. I don't agree. Ho Qinglin will talk to the diviner. I'm sure that if he doesn't die within 50 years, he'll become an enlightened cultivator. He's so young, he'll certainly become an emperor someday. He'll amaze everybody in Ba Huang province. I don't even think the diviner will attach any importance to anyone from Tianlong Divine Castle. No matter what happens, the next emperor from Tiantai will oppress Tianlong Divine Castle, said someone else at that moment. Tianlong Divine Castle's people were suddenly dumbstruck. Tianlong Divine Castle's people suddenly looked furious. Chapter 11-12, Surprise Attack Outside of the bar. A young man in grey clothes had just arrived. He had an ancient sword on his back and he was the one who had just talked. Are you from Tiantai? Asked someone from Tianlong Divine Castle coldly while drinking a sip of alcohol. What that young man had just said made everyone from Tianlong Divine Castle very unhappy. Last time in Fortune City, Ho Qinglin had talked to the diviner who had told him he'd become an emperor. He would definitely become one within 50 years if he didn't die before that. To become an emperor, 50 years was a very short time. Many Zun cultivators didn't even break through to the next Zun Qi layer within 50 to 100 years. If Ho Qinglin would become an emperor within 50 years, Tianlong Divine Castle's people wouldn't be able to catch up. Even though Tiantai had emerged as an influential group for only a short time now, they had all good odds to becoming the first group to have 3 emperors. Besides, Ho Qinglin had even killed Tianlong Divine Castle's Zun cultivators. I'm not a member of Tiantai, I'm just realistic, said that person indifferently. Then, he walked towards a table where only one person sitting. Can I sit here? Asked the young man in grey clothes. Lin Feng smiled and said, please do. What do you think about what I said, dear friend? Asked the young man in grey clothes smiling. I perfectly agree, said Lin Feng smiling and raising his glass. He was a member of Tiantai. Lin Feng found the people from Tianlong Divine Castle ridiculous. A moment before, when people were talking about the geniuses of the province, Tianlong Divine Castle's people had reminded everyone else of their existence because they were afraid that people would forget them. Real geniuses didn't need to do that, they were always discovered sooner or later. The young man in grey clothes cheered with Lin Feng. He looked friendly as he said, Tianlong Divine Castle's people flatter themselves, that's shameless. They've existed for so long already and criticize people from Tiantai for being inexperienced. All in all, one should not forget that Ho Qinglin went to their territory alone with his sword and killed their people. They couldn't stop him, but now they still show off, ridiculous. An eerie silence invaded the bar when he said that. Deadly energies invaded the bar. Tianlong Divine Castle's people slowly stood up. Ignorant and fearless moron. We'll kill you, said Tianlong Divine Castle's people, releasing ice-cold chi. The young man in gray clothes stood up too and slowly unsheathed his sword. He looked at them coldly. You think you're strong enough, said the young man in gray clothes coldly. He looked proud and imposing. He looked at Tianlong Divine Castle's people in a disdainful way. Die, said the members of Tianlong Divine Castle, jumping forwards. The floor of the bar suddenly broke as well as the table they were sitting at. Bzzz. Dazzling lights appeared as sword chi invaded the atmosphere. The sword chi of the young man in gray clothes was terrifying and looked deadly. It would have been marvelous if that sword had been pointed at the members of Tianlong Divine Castle, however, it couldn't kill them because the person it was pointing at was Lin Feng. Such a powerful and dazzling sword could kill Lin Feng, especially if it was that close to him. He couldn't dodge the attack. Everybody was dumbstruck, including the people of Tianlong Divine Castle. Had that guy said those things only to get near Lin Feng? Had he humiliated Tianlong Divine Castle only to approach Lin Feng? Who was that young man then? Nobody had thought that he would attack Lin Feng. It was so unexpected. What a perfect surprise attack. He hadn't appeared hostile with Lin Feng at all. Besides, he had infuriated the members of Tianlong Divine Castle, so he had a reason to unsheath his sword. No matter what, the attack was perfect. Lin Feng's body suddenly felt sore under the sharp energies. He couldn't do anything. He'll kill him, the crowd was astonished. Their hearts were racing. That attack was simple, but it was going to be deadly. Arg! Lin Feng shouted furiously and released demonic energies. The table broke into pieces and the bar seemed like it was going to collapse. The color of the atmosphere changed as it quickly became dark. The demonic energies quickly oppressed the sword energies and finally slowed them down. It only slowed them down, the sword continued moving. Lin Feng was definitely going to die if he was careless. What a terrifying attack, thought the crowd. Lin Feng's demonic energies were emitting whistling sounds now. However, the sword cultivator's attack was better, it was easy to deploy and powerful. How could Lin Feng dodge or counterattack? Boom! The floor broke under Lin Feng's feet. At the same time, he disappeared from where he was previously standing. How's that possible? The crowd was confused. Lin Feng had managed to dodge the attack. Slash! Blood appeared on Lin Feng's shoulder. Lin Feng had avoided the attack at the most crucial moment. He had used his shadow spirit to dodge it. The sword from Lin Feng's enemy still pierced through his right shoulder. If he hadn't used his shadow spirit, it would have been his throat. Shadow spirit, the crowd was amazed. That spirit was very powerful. The sword attack of Lin Feng's enemy wasn't dazzling and didn't contain too much strength. Blood kept squirting like a fountain. Lin Feng looked at his enemy in an ice-cold way. His enemy was surprised and attacked again. However, Lin Feng blocked the sword with his hand and condensed a terrifying strength. At the same time, he released demonic strength and sealed the sword as well as his own body. Die! Shouted Lin Feng, furiously releasing his godly awareness. It was gigantic, vast and oppressive as it moved towards his enemy. At the same time, he spat out a sword and his entire body was suddenly like a sword. Lin Feng's enemy opened his hands, letting go of his own sword, and ran away as fast as he could, then he rose up in the air. He failed to kill Lin Feng. In such a short time, the battle had undergone a complete turn of events. Whether it was Lin Feng or his enemy, if one of them had been a bit too careless, they could have died. Even though Lin Feng's enemy really wanted to kill him, he still ran away. Lin Feng recalled his godly awareness and took the sword out of his shoulder. He hadn't been that close to dying for a long time. Lin Feng had been a bit careless because that person had the same cultivation level as him, the 5th Tian Qi layer. You think you can leave? Lin Feng asked in a cold way. Murder filled his eyes. He rose up in the air too, leaving a crater where he was previously standing. He was injured, but acted as if nothing had happened. He just wanted to kill that cultivator. Chapter 11:13, Imperial Assassin Union and the Watchers. Move. The crowd hastily left the bar. They wanted to see the rest of the battle. The one who had just tried to kill Lin Feng was extremely fast. Could Lin Feng catch up with him? Lin Feng left the bar and released wind intent. He was moving like the wind, coupled with his Xiaoyao agility technique. He was extremely fast yet graceful and agile. Bzzz. Suddenly, Lin Feng had the impression he was hallucinating. The space around him became distorted and an inauspicious energy surrounded his body. Lin Feng raised his head and saw a sword, or someone who had a sword-like face. Lin Feng's eyes started hurting. That sword was dazzling, so much so that he could barely open his eyes. That sword attack was fast, precise and cruel. It looked easy to deploy yet deadly. It's not just one person. They're joining hands to fight him, thought the crowd. The crowd was wondering who had just attacked Lin Feng. Which group did he belong to? There weren't many assassins in Ba Huang province, but there was a union led by an assassin emperor. The assassin emperor had many assassins under his orders. Those two extremely strong people seemingly didn't belong to that group though. Lin Feng looked at that piercingly cold sword. You won't have a second chance, said Lin Feng. He released whistling demonic energies. It was as if a demon beast was roaring. At the same time, his hand became golden as he punched the sword. Unfortunately, he didn't manage to break it though. Die! Lin Feng shouted again. His opponent shook. Lin Feng punched him with his left hand again. It had also become golden. He wanted to move back, but Lin Feng wouldn't let him. His gigantic golden hand grabbed him. Lin Feng could prevent his enemy from attacking. That was enough for the time being. Human sword fusion, said Lin Feng coldly. He turned into a sharp sword and dashed to the skies. He streaked across the sky and launched towards his enemy. He looked like a shooting star as he left a trail of sword chi behind him. He then lacerated his enemy and killed him instantly. When his friend saw that he was dead, he turned around and started running away. Where do you think you're going? Said Lin Feng. He healed his shoulder to stop the bleeding and used his Xiaoyao agility technique with wind intent again. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng had caught up with him. Bzzz. The cultivator turned around, his arm turned into a sword which moved towards Lin Feng's throat. Die! Shouted Lin Feng as he punched the air with his golden hand. The sky was shaking under Lin Feng's hand. Kacha! Lin Feng condensed strength in his hand, along with his gigantic holy spell. He destroyed his enemy's attack. The enemy gave a horrible shriek and Lin Feng's hand ended up on his enemy's head, making it explode. He was dead. How brutal, thought the crowd. Even injured, Lin Feng had managed to kill two enemies. On top of that, in such a brutal way. That guy has only broken through to the 5th Tian Qi layer, but he knows how to fight. He's very fast too. Many cultivators of the 6th and 7th Tian Qi layer aren't that fast. Many people sighed. Two people had used assassin-like spells, including illusions, but hadn't managed to kill that guy. Lin Feng had chopped one enemy into pieces and made the head of the other guy explode. How brutal. Are those the assassins from last time? Whispered Lin Feng. He had offended two groups of assassins now. In the Huangxi underground he had killed a few hunters of darkness, and in the outside world, when he saw Shui Bagio, he also killed some more. If those people belonged to the group of assassins who tried to capture Shui Bagio, it was quite scary. It meant that they had spied on him and found out about his whereabouts, then they had sent people to kill him. Lin Feng was lucky that those people hadn't overestimated him and sent stronger people. If the sword cultivator had been any stronger, he would have killed Lin Feng with that surprise. Lin Feng's heart was still racing when thought about the surprise attack. Lin Feng suddenly understood what Mu Chen had told him before. Even though Mu Chen had sounded calm and indifferent when he had told him those things, he had warned him to be careful at all times. Many strong cultivators wanted to kill the other strong cultivators, only the best ones survived. Tap, tap, a sound spread in the air, sound of steps. People raised their heads and saw someone walking slowly above them. He was wearing a windbreaker and a plaited bamboo hat with a black veil hiding his face. He took out a black bow and arrow in his hand, they looked ordinary. He raised his hands and deadly energies emerged from the bow and arrow. Bzzz. He suddenly shot the arrow. It wasn't dazzling and it didn't contain any incredible forces, it just contained deadly energies. The crowd clenched their fists. What a shot! It was aimed at Lin Feng, for no apparent reason he was attacking Lin Feng. Suddenly, dazzling lights appeared and a hole appeared above Lin Feng. Then, a silhouette appeared from the hole all of a sudden. An illusion. The crowd was astonished. Surprisingly, someone had appeared above Lin Feng. The arrow was moving towards that illusion. That person was surprised and wanted to dodge the arrow, but it was too late, the arrow was too fast. It immediately pierced through his viscera. He lowered his head and saw the one who had just killed him. He looked at him with hatred. Remember that when joining hands with the assassin emperor, there's always someone waiting in the dark. There's no exception. The archer calmly put away his bow and arrow. He didn't say much, but it was enough to leave the crowd shivering. The Imperial Assassin Union has disappeared for such a long time, have they come back? The crowd was shivering. They wouldn't have thought they'd see members of the Imperial Assassin Union again. Those people used to scare everyone to death. They were the descendants of the Assassin Emperor after all. Even emperors died by their hands. Those people had caused rivers of blood to flow in Bahuang province. Then, one night, they disappeared without leaving any trace. There were many rumors concerning their disappearance, but the most predominant one was that all the emperors had joined hands and found the territory of the Imperial Assassin Union and destroyed them. However, they were back now, so what did it mean? Had the Imperial Assassin Union come back to kill all emperors and their disciples? Lin Feng had been found by the Imperial Assassin Union, was that a good thing or a bad thing? When the crowd saw the one with the plaited bamboo hat, one word came to their mind: the Watchers. The Watchers were geniuses who protected people who had the potential to become emperors. They were the Imperial Assassin Union's worst nightmare. Chapter 11:14, The Watcher's Arrow. The Watchers are here, the crowd shivered. The Diviner, the Watchers, the Destroyers, the Cursors, all those people were incredible living beings. It was said that the Destroyer wanted to kill the Assassin Emperor. Now, the Watchers were there too. When something great happened in Bahuang province, that gossip quickly spread all across the continent of the Nine Clouds. However, everybody knew that it was still too early to talk about the future astonishing emperors. The event in Fortune City hadn't even started yet. Lin Feng looked at the cultivator with the plaited bamboo hat. Everybody was whispering. That person was a Watcher, a legendary cultivator. He had killed an assassin hidden in an illusion. How had the Watcher seen him? The assassin didn't even know how he had died or who had killed him. Besides, why had the Imperial Assassin Union decided to kill Lin Feng? If those people were those who had really chased Shui Bagio on that night, Lin Feng could understand. The Watcher said they were always there, hiding in the darkness. That evening wouldn't have been an exception. Everything happened secretly, even people from the celestial land of alchemists couldn't know about the Watchers and the Imperial Assassin Union's whereabouts and plans. It was easy to explain why the Imperial Assassin Union wanted to kill Shui Bagio. She had a celestial body and had all good chances to become an empress. However, they hadn't tried to kill her, they wanted to capture her alive. Lin Feng was confused thinking about it all. Those assassins want to kill potential emperors, how terrifying. Lin Feng whispered and then he smiled wryly. He had to be careful. This time, they underestimated him and sent people who weren't too strong. If they had overestimated him and sent extremely strong cultivators, he would have certainly died by their hands. The watcher lowered his bamboo hat, slowly turned around and prepared to leave. He had other people to protect. Watcher, since you're here, why leave now? At that moment, a silhouette appeared in the sky and that person was wearing resplendent golden clothes. He had a dragon pattern on his robe. The members of Tianlong Divine Castle all nodded at him and smiled. Brother Xia Fan, you're here. That person was a strong cultivator from Tianlong Divine Castle. He had broken through to the 7th Tian Qi layer. Xia Fan landed and slowly walked towards the watcher. I wouldn't have thought you'd come to Fortune City this time. This time in Fortune City, a great many things will happen. My name is Xia Fan and I have broken through to the 7th Tian Qi layer. I am a member of Tianlong Divine Castle. Please shoot one of your divine arrows at me, I won't disappoint you. It seems like he wants to be protected by the Watcher. Being protected by a Watcher was a type of glory. Being secretly protected guaranteed a cultivator's safety, and on top of that, it meant the cultivator had a chance at enlightenment someday. The Watcher looked at Xia Fan and slightly nodded. One couldn't see his facial expression because of his veil. However, he took out another black arrow. You took the wrong one, you need to take a golden arrow, Watcher, said Xia Fan indifferently when he saw that the Watcher had taken out a black arrow. However, the Watcher ignored him. He put his arrow in his bow and shot it. It emitted whistling sounds which weren't dazzling, its chi was pale yet destructive. Humph. Xia Fan groaned coldly and condensed golden energies. He was as dazzling as dragon scales when he punched the air in front of him. Bzzz. At the same time, the Watcher shot a second arrow. That arrow wasn't aiming at Xia Fan, it was just aiming at the air. Bzzz, bzzz, bzzz. The arrow moved very quickly. The Watcher had even been so fast that the crowd didn't even have time to see him shoot the arrows. The Watcher used an illusion spell. Suddenly, there were arrows all around Xia Fan. No matter where he looked, there were arrows. Bzzz. The last arrow moved towards Xia Fan, but he blocked it with his fist and broke it. However, at that moment, another terrifying arrow approached him. Xia Fan's facial expression changed drastically. He couldn't keep calm anymore. He was furious. He released dragon chi and quickly looked like a furious dragon. He raised his hands and started punching all of the arrows. Boom boom boom, the earth was shaking and explosions sounded. His dragon energy was pierced by an arrow. All the arrow energies condensed and Xia Fan moved back. However, that terrifying arrow was too fast and continued moving towards his heart. Arg! Xia Fan shouted furiously. His arm became golden and he attacked the air in the direction of the arrow. It slowed down, but as before, it continued moving forwards. Stop! Xia Fan's arm turned into a dragon and he grabbed the arrow. A horrible pain invaded his arm. Finally, the arrow stopped. He broke it. Xia Fan's arm was twitching and it even started bleeding. He raised his head and looked at the Watcher. The Watcher had already turned around and left. He could only see the Watcher from behind. Haven't you had enough? Asked the Watcher indifferently and calmly. Xia Fan pulled a long face. He felt humiliated. Blood was dripping from his arm. There were several wounds on his arm even. He overestimated himself. Who does he think he is? Surprisingly, he thought the Watcher could protect him. Watchers only protect those who have the potential to become emperors, thought the crowd looking at Xia Fan mockingly. Lin Feng looked at the Watcher and smiled indifferently. Xia Fan was a disgrace. Even though he wasn't weak, getting the protection of the Watchers wasn't something easily done. What are you laughing at? Xia Fan couldn't hold it anymore, he was about to explode. He suddenly punched the air in Lin Feng's direction. The crowd felt nervous for Lin Feng. How unlucky. The Watcher had protected him when the assassin tried to kill him and now Xia Fan wanted to kill him. When Xia Fan saw that the crowd was making fun of him, he couldn't hold back anymore. The nearest person was Lin Feng, and on top of that, he was smiling, which infuriated him even more. He could easily kill a cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer, so he wasn't taking any risk. Lin Feng was surprised, but he reacted quickly and condensed strength and force as he punched Xia Fan's fist. Even then, he had the feeling his bones were going to explode. He quickly moved back. His arm was sore. He looked back at Xia Fan coldly. He took out a bow which had cracks and holy marks. It was the bow he had found in the small world. Without saying anything, Lin Feng shot an arrow at Xia Fan. Xia Fan's eyes were red and filled with murder. Lin Feng had just been injured by the assassin, he could easily crush him. Chapter 11:15. Xia Fan. Even though Lin Feng's bow was broken, it was far from being an ordinary weapon. "A bow again," shouted Xia Fan furiously. The watcher had shot an arrow at him and humiliated him. Seeing Lin Feng's infuriated him even more. Was Lin Feng wanting to humiliate him even more? He punched the arrow and broke it with his arm, which now looked like a dragon's arm. Lin Feng continued shooting arrows, a third one, a fourth one. He was also condensing pure sun qi, which was now burning madly. It even contained some black flames. Lin Feng then condensed all that fire into his arrows. "I'll destroy you," shouted Xia Fan, roaring like an animal. His attacks were powerful and could break apart the ground around him. Lin Feng used wind intent and his Xiaoyao agility technique to maintain the same distance between him and Xia Fan. Lin Feng's burning arrows continued streaking across the sky. Xia Fan didn't know how many arrows he had already broken. He was going insane. He would survive if one arrow reached him, but what about 10, or 100? How fast? It doesn't look like it's easy for Xia Fan, thought the crowd. They thought he'd easily kill Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was quite fast. "Die!" shouted Xia Fan hoarsely. He took out a gigantic blade which emitted dragon sounds. Xia Fan rose up in the air and destroyed the arrows with his blade. However, Lin Feng didn't stop. He continued shooting arrows and Xia Fan couldn't bear it anymore. Tianlong Divine Castle's people are good at close combat because they can turn into dragons, but they're not fast. They are easy targets from far a distance, thought the crowd. Arg! At that moment, Xia Fan threw his dragon blade at Lin Feng, and at the same time, he completely turned into a dragon and threw himself at Lin Feng. "I'll kill you," shouted Xia Fan coldly. Lin Feng smiled in a cold way. He put away his bow and silver wings appeared from his back. At the same time, a black shield appeared in front of him. Boom boom, the blade crashed onto the black shield and Lin Feng thought his arms were going to be crushed. He firmly held the black shield though. What kind of shield is that? Surprisingly, it didn't break. The crowd was surprised. Xia Fan finally got himself near Lin Feng and took the opportunity to attack Lin Feng with his golden claws. Lin Feng looked incredibly calm. A halberd appeared in his hand and met Xia Fan's golden claws. Kacha! The atmosphere was distorted as Xia Fan's dragon claws crashed onto the halberd. Even though it was a broken holy weapon, it was still difficult to break, to the extent that blood appeared on Xia Fan's arm. "Die!" shouted Xia Fan furiously. He continued moving towards Lin Feng, despite the injury. "Piss off," said Lin Feng. A black lotus appeared in his hand and then he quickly shoved it in the dragon's mouth and he swallowed it. After breaking through to the 5th Tian Qi layer, Lin Feng's fire had become even more vicious. Besides, Lin Feng had now mixed desolate and demonic qi in his fire. Roar! Xia Fan roared like a dragon, but it was more like a suffering dragon. Lin Feng took out a hammer and condensed a terrifying strength inside. Then, he hit Xia Fan with that hammer and sent him flying. The crowd was astonished, their mouths were wide open. What sorcery was that? He had so many precious weapons, and not all of them were holy weapons. He had a black shield, a halberd, a hammer, a bow, all those weapons were incredibly solid. Where does he come from? Thought the crowd. Even the Imperial Assassin Union wanted to kill him. Lin Feng took out his bow again and continued shooting arrows at Xia Fan. Xia Fan could barely breathe under that pressure, he was bleeding now. The Watcher had injured him, then he injured himself attacking Lin Feng's halberd. There was a gigantic wound on his chest where Lin Feng had hit him. PFFF, PFFF, Xia Fan was panting, he couldn't keep up. He was still breaking the arrows which were targeting him, but he was starting to feel exhausted. You thought you could release your anger out on me? Said Lin Feng mockingly. He was going insane, he hated the Watcher, he hated Lin Feng. He hated everyone. At that moment, he was under a rain of arrows, but he couldn't reach Lin Feng. Stop, said someone at that moment, it was one of Tianlong Divine Castle's members. Their silhouettes flickered and they surrounded Lin Feng. They had to join hands to kill Lin Feng because he was too fast and too crafty. Lin Feng continued shooting arrows. He looked at the members from Tianlong Divine Castle and said indifferently, there's no need to talk shit. Come and attack me all together. Even though those people weren't as strong as Xia Fan, they were still members of Tianlong Divine Castle and they were still quite strong. Could Lin Feng fight against them all at the same time? Xia Fan is just playing with you and you only know how to use your bow, that's just a despicable means. Don't blame us for being impolite, said the members of Tianlong Divine Castle coldly. Despicable means? Ridiculous, said Lin Feng indifferently. He looked at Xia Fan and said, I never offended you, you attacked me because I was near and you wanted to vent your anger. You're a piece of trash. Surprisingly, you thought the Watcher was going to protect you. You're pathetic, so I'm done playing with you. Lin Feng said. Xia Fan's face turned deathly pale. Lin Feng was playing with him. After that moment, Lin Feng put his weapon away and his entire body started shaking. He was condensing the natural force of the earth and sky. Great celestial demonic skill, die, said Lin Feng coldly. He then punched the air in Xia Fan's direction, immediately making him feel suffocated. Lin Feng's energies completely took over the space and the crowd couldn't see the sky anymore. Kacha, kaboom. His fist hadn't even touched Xia Fan yet, but he was already on his knees and the ground under him was breaking apart. His face was deathly pale. How terrifying, we can't even see the sky anymore, thought the crowd shivering. Xia Fan groaned like an animal and condensed an infinite amount of bestial energies trying to oppress Lin Feng's energies, but his dragon energies were slowly being destroyed. Lin Feng's great celestial demonic skill was a part of the Three Lives Buddha demon skills, it was both brutal and powerful. So, a moment before, had Lin Feng just been playing with him? Chapter 11:16, Killing. Ah! Xia Fan gave a horrible shriek, his arm was still dragon-like, but he couldn't do much, he was in too pain. Lin Feng grabbed Xia Fan's head with his hand and pressed against it. He glanced at the Tianlong Divine Castle's members, they all stopped moving. They stared at Lin Feng and shuddered, they didn't dare act carelessly. Gulp, the crowd gulped down. Their throats were dry, their lips were twitching. Lin Feng's punch was terrifying. Xia Fan was a cultivator of the 7th Tian Qi layer, he was a member of Tianlong Divine Castle and Lin Feng had a clear advantage over him. Lin Feng raised Xia Fan's body up into the air. No wonder that Imperial Assassin Union wanted to kill him, he has the potential to become an emperor. Let me go, shouted Xia Fan looking terrified. He didn't look proud like before, he was now gesticulating like an insect in someone's hand. His life was literally in Lin Feng's hand. The Watcher humiliated you and you decided to release your anger out on me, now, what should I do? Said Lin Feng in a deep voice. Xia Fan didn't even have the strength to move anymore. He was scared to death. I'm a member of Tianlong Divine Castle and all the strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle are on their way to Fortune City. They could be here at any moment. Do you still dare kill me? Asked Xia Fan. He was trying to threaten Lin Feng using his sex name. Let Xia Fan go. Our other fellow disciples will be here soon. Gu Shao has a dragon body. He has broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer, and possess a holy weapon, a golden bell. If you kill Xia Fan, Gu Shao will kill you, said the others furiously. Oh really? I'm so scared, said Lin Feng sarcastically. He then punched Xia Fan in the face and threw him, crashing to the ground. The crowd was astonished. Was he going to kill Xia Fan? Wasn't he scared of the consequences? You want to die, said the members of Tianlong Divine Castle. You kill him, said Lin Feng coldly. He then jumped onto Xia Fan's body and released fire. Xia Fan's body suddenly started burning, as he gave off horrible shrieks. Save me, please save me, I'll do anything, shouted Xia Fan desperately. I hate people who threaten me. I won't save you, said Lin Feng. His fire continued burning. Let's go. You will die for having offended Tianlong Divine Castle, said the members of Tianlong Divine Castle before leaving. Lin Feng smiled in an evil way and took out his bow. Since it's that way, I don't mind killing a few more. Lin Feng shot 3 arrows containing normal and black fires. One of them, who wasn't too strong, was transpierced by an arrow and gave a horrible shriek. He collapsed and fell from the sky. How dare you? You threatened me and said you'd kill me. I'll do anything I want now, said Lin Feng as he continued to shoot arrows. Of course, he knew that he couldn't kill those people with arrows only. So he opened his wings and used his Xiaoyao agility technique to chase them. He quickly caught up with a cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer. That guy's face turned deathly pale when he saw Lin Feng. Kacha! Lin Feng punched that guy's face, his skull exploded and his body fell down from the sky. If he had tried to fight, he might have withstood 1 or 2 attacks, but he really stood no chance. The crowd was sweating and they felt a chill run down their spine. Lin Feng was brutal, aggressive, domineering, merciless. He would kill them all, one by one. The crowd didn't know that last time in the Huangxi underground, Gu Shao had tried to kill Lin Feng because he had already killed his little brother. Could Lin Feng be merciful to those people? Arg! A cultivator of the 6th Tian Qi layer turned around. His arms became golden as he condensed dragon energies to create a shell. He then punched the air in Lin Feng's direction. However, he only saw a light appear as Lin Feng threw his hammer down from the sky. Ah! The hammer crushed his arms. Lin Feng raised the hammer again and hit that cultivator once more, crushing him into the ground. After killing him, Lin Feng chased the last one. The last one looked terrified. They had threatened Lin Feng, but he was fearless. Lin Feng was a man of action after all. Boom! Energies dashed to the skies as group of people arrived in the distance, and man did they look furious. The crowd was surprised. Who were those extraordinary people? Bzzz, 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 a terrifying chi spread. Those people were still very far in the distance, but Lin Feng could already sense their energies. Lin Feng, even if the gods helped you, you wouldn't be able to escape. I, Gu Shao, will kill you today, said a voice rolling in the air. It was Gu Shao, another member of Tianlong Divine Castle. Things didn't look good for Lin Feng this time. So his name was Lin Feng, that extraordinary and ultra-aggressive young man who dared kill people from Tianlong Divine Castle was called Lin Feng. Finally, those people approached. Their chi was getting even more intense. So many people are here, said someone in the distance. That person took only a few steps, but crossed a gigantic distance. It's him. When the crowd saw him, they recognized him instantly. That young man had 3 swords on his back, and even his body looked like a sword. Sword City, Emperor Wu Tianjian's descendant, Jian Wu Bei. So you're Lin Feng. You also came to Sword City, eh? Do you know where he is? Asked Jian Wu Bei to Lin Feng. The crowd was surprised. Did Jian Wubei know Lin Feng? And who was that he was talking about? Lin Feng and Jian Wubei had met only once. He knew perfectly well whom Jian Wubei was talking about, Yuan Fei. I don't know, but I'm sure he'll come here too, said Lin Feng smiling. Jian Wubei slightly nodded. I'm sure he will. We didn't finish our last battle. I'm waiting for him. Their last battle wasn't finished. Lin Feng knew someone who had fought against Jian Wubei. They had to be an incredible genius. Chapter 11-17, Come out here. Lin Feng smiled at Jian Wubei. Last time, he had stolen the meteorite and left with it. Yuan Fei and Jian Wubei had a long battle. Jian Wubei wasn't angry at Lin Feng about what happened, he was a magnanimous person. Lin Feng, get ready to fight, said Gu Shao, releasing energies which quickly surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng had killed his little brother in the Huang Sea underground. Later, Ho Qinglin and Mu Chen had gone to Tianlong Divine Castle to kill their cultivators. Tianlong Divine Castle had been humiliated by Ho Qinglin. You're Gu Shao from Tianlong Divine Castle? Asked Jian Wubei. Jian Wubei, said Gu Shao. He recognized Jian Wubei, of course. Jian Wubei nodded and said, Your Tianlong Divine Castle people are weak and are easily killed by other people. Now, you bring even stronger cultivators to fight against a cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer, isn't it a bit exaggerated? Don't you feel ashamed? Gu Shao pulled a long face and said indifferently, It has nothing to do with you. Of course it doesn't. But Emperor Tianlong is one of the emperors of the region, he's been an emperor for a long time, so everybody knows him. But you acting like this is a disgrace, you're humiliating your emperor, said Jian Wubei calmly and indifferently, yet disdainfully. Everybody remained silent. Jian Wubei was straightforward in saying he despised those people. They had brought so many strong cultivators and Gu Shao was a famous cultivator of the 8th Tian Qi layer, killing Lin Feng wouldn't be an issue if they acted together. But it proved that Tianlong Divine Castle's cultivators were incompetent. Lin Feng had only broken through to the 5th Tian Qi layer, of course they could kill him easily. They all pulled a long face this time. They came to get their revenge and now Jian Wubei was bullying them. Brother Wubei, you're exaggerating. Weak people should die and strong people can do whatever they want. Do you have compassion for weak cultivators now? Said someone in the distance. That person was wearing white clothes and he was quite handsome. On his side were a few people whose qi was extraordinary, especially a girl whose clothes were very luxuriant. She possessed a celestial qi and everybody was looking at her. Celestial land of alchemists, the crowd was surprised. Those young people with an incredible qi were from the celestial land of alchemists, which meant that that girl was the celestial girl. According to legends, she possessed a celestial body. Many people sighed. They wished they could look at her face without the veil covering it. Surprisingly, they were defending Gu Shao though. You again. Lin Feng looked at them coldly. That guy had drawn the assassin's attention on Lin Feng. He also wanted the elders of his sect to cast a clairvoyance spell on Lin Feng. Humph. That guy groaned coldly and said, Don't you feel ashamed going to Fortune City? Ridiculous. You're right, weak people should die. If those Tianlong Divine Castle's people can kill me, then they should, however, you and I, are we enemies? Asked Lin Feng coldly. I don't like shameless people like you, said that young man laughing. He was in love with Xue Baiyao but he couldn't get her. He was jealous because Lin Feng had been in her room and had even kidnapped her. Lin Feng slowly walked up to him, put his finger on the young man's nose and said, Let's fight. He suddenly looked furious and said, Put your dirty finger away. Let's fight, shouted Lin Feng again. The crowd started laughing. Lin Feng had killed Xia Fan and his friends, now, he was provoking a strong cultivator from the celestial land of alchemists. That guy was at the same cultivation level as Xia Fan, the 7th Tian Qi layer. A cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer was putting his finger on his nose and provoking him. He was seriously getting frustrated. It seemed like he wanted to kill Lin Feng with just his glare. What? Say that again, he said coldly. I'll say it a third time, come out. Come and fight me. Otherwise, you can piss off and go back to the celestial land of alchemists, said Lin Feng. Finally, the young man walked out from the group. Rumbling sounds spread in the air each time he stepped on the ground. People from Tianlong Divine Castle looked happy. Since people from the celestial land of alchemists wanted to kill Lin Feng themselves, why not let them? You're right, since we're enemies, weaklings should die. Lin Feng declared. He also took a few steps and released energies which broke the ground around him. There was also a strange nameless energy. It was the natural force of the earth and sky. He can use the natural force of the earth and sky so easily, he must be really talented, thought the crowd. It was no wonder he had defeated Xia Fan. The young man from the celestial land of alchemists laughed and said, if that's all you can do, you're going to die quickly. Boom! He released a terrifying amount of strength and the ground opened up, the ensuing fissure moved towards Lin Feng. Strength emanated from that fissure. Lin Feng calmly moved away, condensed even more natural force. However, from under his feet some purple lights appeared. What's that? Wondered the crowd. Seeds. People from the celestial land of alchemists had special techniques, and of those techniques utilized seeds. They could give birth to new life forms and transform them into weapons. The young man from the celestial land of alchemists laughed coldly. His lips were moving as he was chanting something that the crowd couldn't hear. They soon saw seeds were sprouting from under Lin Feng's feet and emitting subtle sounds. Lin Feng was suddenly surrounded by purple seeds. The young man was still chanting incantations and the purple lights were becoming more dazzling. Lin Feng looked expressionless. He released fire energies and continued walking forwards. The two opponents were getting closer to each other. You can still walk. I'll finish you if you don't stop, said the young man. The sound of the seeds was getting louder and louder. Lin Feng was suddenly covered in vines. Purple blade, said the young man. The vines rose up and turned into a terrifyingly sharp purple blade. Now he wanted to chop Lin Feng in pieces. Their attacks are really incredible, thought the crowd. The power of the seeds was enigmatic and unfathomable. According to legends, the celestial emperor from the celestial land of alchemists, with one seed, could give birth to a vine which could envelop the entire world. Do you think that you can compete with me? Said the young man in a cold way. Lin Feng had to be suicidal. Everybody felt sad for Lin Feng. If only he had been a little stronger. Unfortunately, his cultivation level was too low. Such incredible seeds and a powerful attack, Lin Feng could only accept his impending death. Gu Xiao started laughing frantically as if Lin Feng had already died before his eyes. Jian Wubei looked calm as he was observing the special seed attack. This time, Lin Feng had challenged that cultivator, so if he died, it would be his own fault. The other strong cultivators from the celestial land of alchemists remained calm. Shui Baiyao didn't stop them either, even though she had said she'd kill Lin Feng herself. However, if Lin Feng provoked people even though he was so weak, she couldn't do anything. Chapter 11:18, Tiantai people, you're so ugly and ridiculous, said the young man from the celestial land of alchemists. Purple blade, let's kill him. Slash, slash, a sharp purple blade moved towards Lin Feng. Many people couldn't help but watch, it was dazzling to the eyes. After that attack, Lin Feng's body would be riddled with gaping wounds. However, at the last moment, the crowd saw Lin Feng move, even though he was constricted by all those vines. He rose up in the air and launched forwards. Boom! A terrifying black fire appeared and the vines sizzled away. The sharp purple blade also started burning under Lin Feng's scorching hot fire. Finally, Lin Feng took another step forward as buzzing sounds spread in the air and a wave of energy assaulted the young man from the celestial land of alchemists. He felt oppressed by a great natural strength. The crowd's hearts were racing. What was going on? How could his fire be so powerful? Lin Feng was bathing in those black, destructive flames. The young man from the celestial land of alchemists was a strong cultivator with the strength of the 7th Tian Qi layer, so Lin Feng shouldn't be able to destroy his purple blade that easily. What kind of strength is that? Thought the people from the celestial land of alchemists. That fire contained other forms of strength and energies. It wasn't a pure fire. I can sense demonic energies inside, whispered someone. The others shivered. Their skills and techniques were particularly sensitive to demon energies. Indeed, that's demonic energy, said someone else nodding. However, Shui Baiyao seemed surprised. Was there only demon energies inside? Why did she sense something else? Lin Feng's energies also contained a destructive strength. Bzzz. The purple energies didn't affect Lin Feng's natural force. He continued moving forward and his energies soon reached the young man from the celestial land of alchemists. Lin Feng then stretched out his hands and released destructive energies which made the young man shake. How could Lin Feng's energies be so brutal? Spirit, shouted the young man in a deep voice. Suddenly, a purple energy emerged and launched itself towards Lin Feng, surrounding him. Lin Feng condensed black destructive energies in his hands. Lin Feng put his hands in the purple energies, destroying them, and then he continued moving towards the young man again. Stop, shouted the young man bestially. Lin Feng's hands trembled and the young man gave a horrible shriek. Lin Feng raised him up in the air and sealed his strength away with demon seal strength. The young man's spirit and energies slowly disappeared. The crowd finally saw what was going on. Lin Feng was holding his enemy by the throat and was corroding him with his destructive energies from inside. The young man looked like he was in incredible pain. You're so weak, said Lin Feng indifferently, holding his enemy at arm's length. Lin Feng was holding his enemy with both hands so the young man couldn't escape. He gave a horrible shriek again. He was suffocating. Let him go, shouted the people from the celestial land of alchemists. Some people released energies towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng raised his head and glanced at them. You're worthless. He wanted to kill me, why would I let him go? His life is now mine. Those people hoped he'd kill Lin Feng, not the other way around. He's a member from the celestial land of alchemists. If you kill him, you'll be an enemy of the celestial land of alchemists, said someone coldly. You can't blame me, he's the one who wanted to kill me. When he said he wanted to kill me, why didn't you prevent him from doing so and tell him that he would become Tian Qi's enemy? Do you think Tian Qi would be happy to have their disciples killed? You are just shameless, replied Lin Feng coldly. The young people from the celestial land of alchemists quickly surrounded Lin Feng. Shui Baiyao was the only one who didn't move. She decided to just observing. Will you let him go or not? They said threateningly. Does the celestial land of alchemists think they can humiliate Tiantai without consequences? Shouted someone in the distance. Some people were coming at them with incredible speed. Lin Rua Tian. Apart from him, there was Meng Ba and a young man in purple clothes. There were also 2 cultivators of the 8th Tian Qi layer. They were Tiantai's imperial cultivation disciples from the first batch. There were few cultivators who had the strength of the 4th Tian Qi layer and above, but that didn't mean they were weak. There were also some cultivators of the 8th and 9th Tian Qi layer amongst them. Lin Feng, your brothers from Tiantai are here now, said Lin Rua Tian smiling and nodding at Lin Feng. They surrounded the young people from the celestial land of alchemists who were already surrounding Lin Feng. Lin Feng is from Tiantai. It seems like he's Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu's imperial cultivation disciple and from the first batch at that. No wonder he could easily kill Xia Fan and had the advantage over a cultivator of the 7th Tian Qi layer from the celestial land of alchemists, thought the crowd when they saw people from Tiantai arrive. Lin Feng was from Tiantai and he had just killed a cultivator from Tianlong Divine Castle, and now he had defeated a cultivator from the celestial land of alchemists. All those people had emperors at the head of their groups. This time, no Zun cultivator was going to Fortune City. Only Tian-level cultivators could participate. The cultivators who had participated at the last event in Fortune City were either dead or had broken through to the Zun Qi layer by now. Ho Qing Lin was one of them, and he had already broken through to the 5th Zun Qi layer. You brought so many people to threaten a single cultivator from Tiantai, said Meng Ba, glancing at those people. He was furious. Let our fellow disciple go, otherwise, the celestial land of alchemists will not forgive you, said the young people from the celestial land of alchemists. They wanted Lin Feng to release their colleague. I told you, I hate people who threaten me, said Lin Feng. Cracking sounds spread in the air all of a sudden. The young man in his hands gave another horrible shriek and flames penetrated into his skin. He was going to burn alive. All the cultivators from the celestial land of alchemists released their energies, but the strong cultivators from Tiantai also charged forward. Don't look at me that way. Today, everyone saw what you did. He threatened to kill me, so I protected myself, and he's weak, so I have the advantage over him. If you want to avenge him, you can fight, however threatening me using your sect's name won't work. Do you think Tiantai fears anyone anyways? Lin Feng said. Then, the sounds of fire erupted. His enemies gave horrible shrieks and burnt alive in front of him. Mu Chen had also just spoke encouraging words to those people from the celestial land of alchemists, words that nobody would forget easily. Strong cultivators were fearless, fighting and killing was normal, only those who won could rise in the cultivation hierarchy. The leaders of such groups couldn't care less about battles between low-level cultivators. Chapter 11:19, Invitation to Jianga. How dare you, shouted the young people from the celestial land of alchemists. Lin Feng had killed their friends in front of them. He wanted to kill me. There's nothing I don't dare, said Lin Feng, laughing coldly. He had just taught them a lesson. He actually killed him. The crowd was astonished. How courageous and cruel. They didn't know that Lin Feng didn't like him. They thought Lin Feng had killed him only because he had just threatened him. If someone wants to kill me, I have to react and protect myself, said Lin Feng. He shook his hand and the corpse he was holding turned to dust and ashes. Gu Xiao looked at Lin Feng in a cold way. Lin Feng had glanced at them when he killed that guy. It was a message: if they tried to kill him, he'd react in kind. Since it's that way, I'll teach a lesson to Tiantai's imperial cultivation disciples, said the young men from the celestial land of alchemists. They wanted to fight Lin Feng and his fellow disciples. We are not afraid of you. If you want to fight, let's fight, said Meng Ba aggressively. His voice was deep and coarse. A great war was about to start. If Tiantai harasses people, Tianlong Divine Castle can't stand by doing nothing. Tianlong Divine Castle wanted to be involved as well. They wanted to join hands with the Celestial Palace of Alchemists to fight the disciples from Tiantai. But the disciples from Tiantai didn't have much experience, whereas the disciples from the Celestial Land of Alchemists and those from Tianlong Divine Castle had plenty of experience. The battle would be difficult for Tiantai, some of them would probably die. Lin Feng was right. Even though they all had emperors backing them up, those young people could fight each other and the emperors wouldn't care. Those young people still had to rely on their own abilities. Therefore, Tiantai's people had nothing to be afraid of, nor did either of the other groups. Alright, Tianlong Divine Castle and the Celestial Land of Alchemists will join together and teach them a lesson, said a strong cultivator from the Celestial Land of Alchemists. Could you be more shameless? Shouted someone. The crowd looked at the person who said that. They were surprised because it was Shui Baiyao. You attack alone or don't attack at all, said Shui Baiyao in a calm way. A cultivator of the 7th Tian Qi layer had just attacked Lin Feng. That was already a humiliation for the Celestial Land of Alchemists. If they attacked alone, she'd say nothing, but now it was way too exaggerated. Especially now that Tianlong Divine Castle's people joined hands with people from her group to attack Tiantai. A young man from the celestial land of alchemists looked at her nervously and said, "Sister, do you think we should just let him off then?" "If you continue acting like that, don't call me sister, ever again," said Shui Baiyao in a calm and detached way. She looked at the others and said, "The same applies for all of you. The celestial girl from the celestial land of alchemists is proud and has her own principles," the crowd sighed. Shui Baiyao despised those people who were joining hands to fight a small group of people. They all looked at her in a strange way, and then one young man finally glanced at Lin Feng and said, "Take good care of yourself." Then, they went back next to Shui Baiyao. They couldn't go against Shui Baiyao's will, especially since they were all in love with her. They were scared to lose her. She wasn't strong just because she had a celestial body, but also because she had principles and moral values. "Don't worry, I will," replied Lin Feng. He then looked at the people from Tianlong Divine Castle, and at Gu Shao in particular. "So, do you guys want to fight?" They remained silent. This time, Tiantai's cultivators had the advantage. Of course, Tianlong Divine Castle's cultivators weren't afraid to fight, especially since Gu Shao, who had a holy weapon, his golden bell. At that moment, someone appeared next to Jian Wu Bei and whispered something to him. Jian Wu Bei nodded in return. He walked forwards, smiled at the crowd and said, "Tianlong Divine Castle, Tiantai, and the celestial land of alchemists, since you're all going to Fortune City, there's no need to fight here impulsively. Let's go to Jianghe. What do you think? Go to Jianghe?" The crowd didn't understand. What did it mean? "We invite all the geniuses to come to Jianghe to see the legacy of my ancestor, Emperor Wu Tianjian," said Jian Wu Bei, smiling confidently. He had confidence that everyone would be willing to go there. Of course, when the geniuses heard that, their eyes started twinkling. He was inviting the geniuses to go to an exclusive state. "Since you invited us, we'd love to go and forget about our grudges for now," said Gu Shao, smiling as if the animosities from a moment ago had never happened. "And so does the celestial land of alchemists," said Shui Baiyao. She couldn't refuse such an invitation. Lin Feng looked at his friends, they all looked impatient. He said, smiling, "That is an honor for Tiantai. Thank you. All right, since you're so happy, I'll lead the way." "Let's go," said Jian Wu Bei, smiling. Gu Shao glanced at Lin Feng coldly and said, using telepathy, "I'll let you off for now, but in Fortune City, you won't be so lucky. I won't stop with just you, I'll also kill all your friends from Tiantai." He was threatening to kill them all. As Gu Shao saw it, Tiantai's people would never have the opportunity to meet the diviner. Lin Feng frowned and looked at Gu Shao in a cold way. Gu Shao had broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer and possessed a holy weapon. Gu Shao then walked forwards to Jian Wu Bei, smiled and said, "Brother Jian Wu, apart from seeing your ancestors' legacy, what else will we do there?" Everybody listened. They wanted to know what was going to happen there. They just couldn't get themselves to ask it. However, Gu Shao didn't mind. "My ancestor's sword is there and it keeps emitting whistling sounds. It seems like it wants to take off and pierce the heavens. You are all talented and have emperors as teachers, maybe you will know why the sword is whistling." A sword which didn't stop whistling. Everybody couldn't wait to see the sword. It was probably an incredible holy weapon. Even those who weren't invited followed. If the sword rose up, they'd see it from outside. What would happen if the emperor's sword was released? But the geniuses were skeptical. They didn't know what Jian Wu Bei really wanted from them. If the sword kept moving and wanted to take off, they could just seal it. Was his plan to invite people to fight? Everybody had different thoughts, but all in all, Jian Wu Bei invited them and maybe it would have a great impact of their cultivation. Chapter 11:20. The grave. Jianghe was in Sword City, so when Lin Feng and the others arrived, they didn't see Jianghe, they only saw a huge sword. It was stuck in the ground and looked devastatingly powerful. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. That sword was similar to a gigantic sword he had in his memories. Had he obtained those memories from Emperor Wu Tianjian? Or another possibility, had someone seen the memories and created that sword? Jian Wubei continued walking and grabbed the sword. There were some letters inscribed on that sword. Jian Wubei raised it and instantly a terrifying energy rose up, pushing everyone back. Ding! That sword emitted a sound and a light appeared. Please, everyone, said Jian Wubei. Everybody walked towards the sword. That sword is its own small world, thought Lin Feng. That sword itself was Jiang'a. The lights he had seen in the Huang Sea were similar, they too led to a small world. In Shengong, it was mist, in Jiang'a's case, it was a sword. Lin Feng also sensed the incredible energies inside that sword. Jiang'a was a holy place for sword cultivators. Everything in Jiang'a had the shape of a sword, each object had the shape of a sword, palaces, pavilions, mountains, everything. The energies, force, qi, and so on were also all sword-related. Lin Feng shivered. His sword qi seemed like it wanted to jump out of his body. He hadn't had such a feeling for a long time. At that moment, everybody had different sensations. Emperor Wu Tianjian was the best sword cultivator in the world 5,000 years ago. No wonder. Nobody could surpass him in terms of sword cultivation, thought Gu Shao sighing. For once, he wasn't being polite, he was just thinking aloud. Practicing sword cultivation for 1 year in Jiang'a would be the same as practicing sword cultivation for 3 years in the outside world. A sword cultivator can probably understand swords a lot better inside here. What they can do here in 10 years, they need 100 in the outside world, said Shui Baiyao sighing. Her world, the celestial land of alchemists, was a paradise for alchemists. Jiang'a was a paradise for swordsmen. I'm ridiculous, I've been practicing sword cultivation for a dozen years and I still don't belong to a group, said Jian Wubei sighing. Shui Baiyao shook her head and said, sword cultivation and other types of cultivation are different. Swordsmen think about swords only. Maybe their attacks aren't explosive, but each of their attacks are sharp and swift. Strong sword cultivators are terrifying existences. Jian Wubei couldn't refute that and smiled in a resplendent way. He brought everyone to one place. There were many people in Jiang'a, both old and young people, in any case, they all possessed a terrifying sword qi. After half an hour, they arrived in a palace off in the distance, it was the first thing that didn't have the shape of a sword though. It looked like a grave. People raised their heads and gazed into the distance. There were 2 gigantic words, Jian's grave. The Jian grave was where Emperor Wu Tianjian was buried. There were people around the grave. The crowd was astonished because those people looked a lot stronger than them. Long Teng is there. Tianlong Divine Castle's people recognized someone, a young man who looked like a dragon. He didn't look as extraordinary as the crowd would have thought, but when they looked closer, they realized he looked like a calm and domineering dragon. Long Teng had a celestial dragon body and had broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer. 8th Tian Qi layer, dragon body, he must be able to defeat ordinary Zun cultivators, thought the crowd. Very quickly, the crowd looked at the others around the grave. They were also incredible. One of them had phoenix clothes, it was a beautiful girl with hair that looked like it was on fire. She didn't wear a veil so people could see her face. She had black eyes which looked rather devilish. She had voluptuous lips and beautiful white skin. Any man would have fallen for her. She turned around and looked at the crowd to see who was looking at her. Many people couldn't help but stare at her. Some of them were wondering which girl they preferred, Shui Baiyao or her. If they were strong enough, they could have 2 girls like that, a main wife and a main concubine. Qi Feng Mountain, the girl with a phoenix body. Next to her was someone with a plaited bamboo hat and a veil. People couldn't see his face, but he was one of the watchers. The Watchers didn't show themselves often, they only showed up when the people they protected were in trouble. Often, people who were protected by the Watchers didn't even know they were being protected. Maybe the Watchers were next to them, maybe they were family members, maybe they were friends or their own enemies, anything was possible with the Watchers. Jiang had invited one Watcher, nobody knew which one it was. After all, there were many Watchers. Apart from those three, there was someone else calmly standing there. They didn't release any qi and people thought that he was an illusion. Lin Feng had only seen them before, the Phoenix Girl. Now, he knew that she was Qi Feng Mountain. Surprisingly, she went to the island of the 9 dragons for a stone, but why? Why was it so particularly important, thought Lin Feng. He hadn't seen what was inside that stone because she hadn't broken it in front of them. Everybody, let's go into the grave, said Jian Wubei leading the way. Then, the grave opened itself and an ancient qi emerged from it. Chapter 11:21, Living Swords. The Sword Grave. The Jian grave was where Emperor Wu Tianjian had been buried, so the crowd was scared. The crowd walked forward. Even though they all felt nervous on the inside, on the outside they looked calm and walked steadily. Those people were all geniuses who had attained the highest degree of perfection in controlling their emotions. It didn't look luxuriant once inside the grave, but there was no incredible sword qi either. The walls were falling apart, there was mud and even some puddles. Some swords were buried in the mud and they looked very old. None of those swords were very sharp or dazzling, they were just there, half buried in mud. Are those Emperor Wu Tianjian's swords? The crowd looked calm as they observed those ancient swords. Some swords didn't even have their handles anymore. Some of them had cracks. It didn't look like Jiang at all. If the crowd had seen that outside, they would have thought it was a wasteland. There were 2 protectors sitting there who glanced at the crowd in a sharp way, it seemed like their eyes could pierce through people's souls. Such strong sword cultivators. The protectors of Emperor Wu Tianjian's grave could only be that strong. Here are all the swords Emperor Wu Tianjian used after rising to power. No matter if they're complete or broken, they are all stored here. According to legends, they are all alive, said Jian Wubei ecstatically. The crowd nodded. Everybody, let's go forward, but don't forget something, don't infuriate my ancestors' swords. Jian Wubei warned. Everybody nodded and continued walking. Lin Feng felt the same. There was one sword in front of him and it was a meter long. There was rust on the handle, but it seemed like it was made of cast iron. Lin Feng stretched out his hand and touched it. Even though there was mud on it, there was no dust. Lin Feng looked at his hand and found it wasn't dirty. It feels alive, thought Lin Feng. That place was a memorial for Emperor Wu Tianjian's swords. Bzzz. At that moment, the sword next to Lin Feng moved and emitted buzzing sounds. Are those swords really alive? Whispered Lin Feng. He also practiced sword cultivation, but he was unsure about how far he would go on the path of sword cultivation. That graveyard had existed for a very long time and those swords still could move. However, at that moment, a gloomy energy invaded the room and the sword calmed down again. Strong sword cultivators can use their soul to fabricate swords and create swords with their own souls. They are really alive, someone explained next to Lin Feng. It was Feng Xian, the Phoenix Girl. She hadn't turned around, but she looked just as arousing from behind. Thank you very much for sharing that with me, said Lin Feng. He then turned around and looked at the sword again. Feng Xian didn't say much, she touched a sword as well. Even though she didn't practice sword cultivation, she was interested in strong cultivators. There were common points between different types of cultivation. Everybody, you can try to communicate with the swords using your godly awareness, but don't make them angry. Your energies have to be friendly, otherwise the swords will attack, said Jian Wubei. Some people started releasing their godly awarenesses to communicate with the swords. Bzzz, 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 the swords started emitting buzzing sounds. They wanted to communicate with their godly awarenesses. Bzzz. At that moment, Lin Feng sensed a terrifying sword chi. Feng Xian suddenly jumped backwards and stretched out her hands, destroying a thread of sword chi. It was a dangerous sword. The crowd was surprised. They wanted to try too, but then everybody looked at Feng Xian. Even the two protectors looked at her. They seemed angry for a second and then neutral again. The sword chi in here can be merciless, said Feng Xian. From her beautiful eyes, one could see that she was surprised. Jiang hadn't lied to them. That was Emperor Wu Tianjian's grave, and those swords were, in fact, merciless. Everybody listened to Feng Xian, but it made them even more enthusiastic. They really wanted to communicate with the swords. It was such an unfathomable experience. Sensing Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword intent and sword chi was an incredible and enriching experience. The sword chi was whistling even more intensely as the grave started shaking. Very quickly, sword intent assaulted them again. This time, the one who had tried to communicate with the swords was Shui Bai Yao, the beautiful holy celestial girl. Lin Feng didn't try to communicate with the swords, instead, he tried to communicate with the mud where they were buried. He had the feeling that the mud contained the lives of all the swords. He could almost hear them crying, all those swords seemed melancholic. They had followed Emperor Wu Tianjian their entire life and witnessed incredible wars, and now, they were buried there. They wanted to leave that place. Lin Feng listened with his heart. They wanted to rise, they wanted their souls to condense, they had a life if they managed to leave that place. Bzzz, 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 the swords all started shaking. It was frightening. It was getting even more intense. Everybody felt like they had to be extremely vigilant. What was going on? When they tried to communicate with the swords, they had barely reacted, but now, they were all buzzing. It seemed like the swords were begging, crying, almost like they wanted to leave the graveyard. The two protectors' facial expressions looked sharp. They glanced at the crowd. They were looking for something, it seemed. They didn't prevent the swords from moving though. If the swords were crying, it wasn't their fault and it had nothing to do with them. Those young people were all extraordinary. They quickly noticed that the two strong cultivators were acting strange. Jian Wu Bei, the emperor's descendant, had invited them to come. What was his real goal? The swords weren't moving like he had said, they also didn't dash to the skies. They were shaking only when people provoked them, and the protectors were acting strangely as well. They even seemed to hope that those young people who helped the swords break free. Why would Jiang do that? The swords shook even more intensely. The two protectors noticed someone in particular, Lin Feng. They were fixedly staring at him now. They knew that he was the one who was making the swords beg and cry. Ding! A metallic sound spread in the air as a terrifying sword chi invaded the whole atmosphere. It seemed like the swords wanted to leave suddenly. Everybody moved back hastily. Suddenly, they were astonished as one of the swords seemed like it was going to leave the graveyard. It moved up in the air and appeared above Lin Feng's head. Chapter 1122, Celestial Girl. Jian Wu Bei's eyes twinkled. He stared at Lin Feng too, though, he looked confused. Lin Feng raised his head and stared at the sword. It wasn't dazzling, but it looked scary. Bzzz, bzzz, sharp chi was rolling in waves when suddenly, the sword started shining. Its lights were so bright that the crowd couldn't open their eyes anymore. They all moved back very quickly. Lin Feng started following the crowd, but suddenly all the buried swords started moving and surrounded Lin Feng. What's going on? The crowd shivered. Lin Feng was even more surprised. One sword in particular was oppressing him. That sword had intent and it was acting like a person. The mud started shaking and the grave wailed. A dazzling beam of light emerged from the mud. The crowd was staring at it. That sword was shining brightly. Another sword. There was another sword and it was buried deeply. It looked a sword a king would own. All the swords wailed even more. Psos, the sword twinkled. A beam of light emerged from it and moved towards Lin Feng. In a flash, all the swords rose up at the same time and rotated around Lin Feng. The entire act was quite majestic. The crowd looked at the mud. They could clearly sense those merciless energies and those swords could kill them easily. One of the swords had an even more powerful chi than the others, that was the Sword King. Everybody was captivated. Why did that sword's lights point at Lin Feng? Why did the swords surround Lin Feng? Lin Feng felt incredibly oppressed, so much so that he fell down on his bottom. He looked surprised as he released his own sword chi to block their sword chi. The two protectors stared at him intensely and nodded. Sword spirits, please control yourself, said the two old men bowing politely in front of the swords. As if the swords had heard the two old men, they released sharp, proud and arrogant energies. Everybody was surprised, those incredible swords really were alive. They had their own personalities. However, in front of the protectors who were two incredible sword cultivators, they still looked proud and arrogant. However, the two old men were still lowering their heads. The swords then calmed down. At the same time, the other sword, the Sword King, also moved back into the ground. All the swords were controlling themselves. Lin Feng breathed in deeply, he was sweating. He was in shock actually. He could still see all those swords in his memories, alive. A moment before, he had sensed what those swords had gone through in another era, Emperor Wu Tianjian's era. The two old men calmly glanced at the crowd and slowly turned to Lin Feng. They smiled and said, "It seems like something connects you to our ancestors, little friend. The swords have been whistling a lot these days and this time, they reacted in a good way after seeing you." "I feel honored by your kind words," replied Lin Feng politely. He was surprised and felt confused. Why had Jiang invited them? Had they said the truth? Had the swords been whistling that much recently? Why did he have the feeling that Jian Wu Bei wanted to see if they could make the swords whistle? The old men smiled and said to everybody, "Do you know why the swords have been whistling so much recently? The Sword Emperor's swords have their own soul and they are reluctant to die. Therefore, they whistle. They want to continue fighting," said Long Teng. Even though he wasn't a sword cultivator, he knew how powerful they were. "Those swords want to leave, why don't people from Jiang'a take them out?" asked Shui Baiyao. She felt skeptical. "Those swords belong to our ancestor. Could nobodies like us hold them and control them?" asked the old man smiling and shaking his head. He then added, "Thank you very much, little friends, for having come here. Wu Bei, please be kind to our guests." Everybody understood what the old man meant. They all took the initiative to leave as Jian Wu Bei led the way. But at that moment, nobody understood why Jian Wu Bei had invited them in the first place. Could his sole motive have been to make them sense the sword energies? When leaving the grave, Lin Feng sensed that someone was looking at him, so he turned around and saw a white-haired, sick-looking old man guarding the entrance. Lin Feng looked at Lin Ruotian and the others and said gratefully, "Brothers and sisters, thank you for what you did today." Lin Ruotian nodded and shook his head. He smiled and said, "We have to support each other because we're all from Tiantai. We can have friends and enemies in Tiantai, but all in all, no matter what we think of each other, when something happens to a member of Tiantai outside our home, we have to help them. Our group hasn't existed for too long, so everybody will try to pick on us." Lin Feng nodded. Mu Chen hoped all the new imperial cultivation disciples would support each other like this. "No matter what, I won't let other people attack my fellow disciples," said Lin Ruotian again. "Indeed. Those people from Tianlong Divine Castle and the celestial land of alchemists are really shameless," said Meng Ba nodding. "Alright, let's find a place to stay for now," said the purple-eyed young man as if he felt unsatisfied. Then, he left alone. Nobody blamed him. Some people felt like they couldn't be friends with everybody else, they just helped their fellow disciples because they had to. Everybody gradually left, leaving Lin Ruotian and Meng Ba behind. Lin Ruotian wanted to become better friends with Lin Feng. Meng Ba admired Lin Feng for being able to climb up the 9 groups of steps in Tiantai back when. Have you seen Qiu Yuxian? Asked Lin Feng to his fellow disciples. Qiu Yuxian wasn't there. She travels alone. She went to another one of the 3 cities, but I'm not sure which one, replied Lin Ruotian. All right. Lin Feng nodded. If they traveled with Qiu Yuxian, they would travel faster because she had a lifeboat. It soon became dark outside. There were many people inside Sword City and they were all heading to Fortune City. There were many lofty palaces everywhere there. There was a girl in white clothes standing at the top of a palace. Her hair was black, which contrasted with her snowy white clothes. The moon was shining upon her, making her look like a celestial being. That's the Snow Celestial Girl, she's so beautiful. If only I could be her boyfriend, some people sighed while staring at that beautiful woman. If you went to the celestial land of alchemists to ask for her hand, all the other young men would crush you. Arg, she has a celestial body so an ordinary cultivator couldn't be with her. I don't think she wants to get married anyways. All she is interested in is cultivation. Many people were talking about her. At that moment, Lin Feng and his 2 friends saw Shui Baiyao at the top of a lofty palace. Lin Ruotian smiled in a resplendent way and said, "That girl looks really good." "Indeed, even I feel something when I look at her," said Meng Ba. Lin Feng said nothing, he just smiled wryly. Then, Shui Baiyao slowly turned around and looked at Lin Feng. Chapter 1123, Challenging the Celestial Girl. Shui Baiyao was waiting for Lin Feng. Lin Ruotian and Meng Ba glanced at each other, they were surprised. Shui Baiyao was looking at Lin Feng. "I've been waiting for you for a long time now," said Shui Baiyao coldly. Lin Ruotian and Meng Ba glanced at each other again, they were right. Surprisingly, she was waiting for Lin Feng. Many people came out of the lofty palace, including some very arrogant young geniuses. "Celestial Snow Girl, I admit that I had wandering hands, but it wasn't on purpose." "Why can't you forget about it already?" said Lin Feng smiling wryly. Wandering hands. Lin Feng had touched the Snow Celestial Girl in an indecent way. Lin Ruotian and Meng Ba suddenly seemed interested and were staring at Lin Feng now. Did he have sex with her? What did wandering hands mean exactly? "You," Shui Baiyao looked at him coldly. She was furious. Why did he say that in front of everyone? However, Shui Baiyao could control herself and calmed down quickly. She just looked annoyed. She wanted to get her revenge. "Lin Feng, you shameless bastard. You dared touch her. You tarnished her reputation. Lin Feng, you're a piece of trash. You injured her, kidnapped her, disappeared with her for a while, what exactly did you do to her? You're a disgusting bastard, we need to kill him." The young men were talking to each other using telepathy. What had Lin Feng done to the girl in her room? Why had he disappeared with her for a while? Did he rape her? Everybody was looking at Lin Feng with the highest levels of hatred. "Let's kill him together, that piece of trash." "Right, let's kill him," shouted everybody furiously. Shui Baiyao was considered as holy in the celestial land of alchemists. Maybe Lin Feng had raped her to mix his blood with hers, what a disgusting bastard. "Lin Feng, what did you do to her?" "Lin Feng, did you?" said Lin Ruotian and Meng Ba to Lin Feng using telepathy. Lin Feng was speechless. Shui Baiyao remained silent and released her godly awareness. She wanted to see who was talking. Some people wanted to protect her, to prove that they were worth it. Some people thought she had slept with Lin Feng because of what he had said, what a bastard. Lin Feng slowly walked forwards and said coldly, "A bunch of rats, if you want to fight, come out and fight. It was only a misunderstanding. Because the strong cultivators of the Celestial Palace chased me, I had to kidnap her to leave safely. I let her go safe and sound after that. Then, all those dogs who hoped to marry her someday attacked me. So, that's what had happened. Lin Feng's way of talking proved that he was honest. However, they all hoped he hadn't slept with her. Shui Baiyao's facial expression suddenly looked better. But still, she had to kill him. But alright, I did touch a little bit of your skin, so what? No need to kill me for that, added Lin Feng. Shui Baiyao's face turned red. A little bit of her skin. Couldn't he shut up? He was doing that on purpose. Besides, you're the celestial and holy girl of the celestial land of alchemists, even though I injured you a little and interrupted you when you were about to break through to the 8th Tian Qi layer, I'm just a little cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer, so, continued Lin Feng. He was flattering her to make her look bad. I will use the strength of the 5th Tian Qi layer and kill you, said Shui Baiyao coldly. Sister, he's just trying to protect himself, said one of the young men. Lin Feng was saying sweet words so she didn't attack him. He had killed their fellow disciple of the 7th Tian Qi layer. If Shui Baiyao only used the strength of the 5th Tian Qi layer, he would destroy her. The celestial girl from the celestial land of alchemists is extremely strong, I admire her, said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. I'm not scared of him. The same cultivation level as him, I can defeat him. Do you guys doubt me? Said Shui Baiyao indifferently glancing at the young men from the celestial land of alchemists. They remained silent. Did they doubt their holy woman? She had completely recovered, at the same cultivation level as Lin Feng, she wasn't scared to fight him. Same level, I'll kill you, said Shui Baiyao calmly looking at Lin Feng. Her clothes were slightly fluttering in the evening breeze, her facial expression was as cold as the moon. I trust you, you are very strong. I already have some pills in case I die. What if I win though? Asked Lin Feng smiling. You won't have any chance. What if though? Said Lin Feng smiling in a resplendent way. What do you want? Asked Shui Baiyao. Dying would be a tragedy, but if I win, let's forget about everything that's happened before and be friends, alright? Said Lin Feng. He had killed people from the celestial land of alchemists, but he didn't hate Shui Baiyao. Besides, she had a high social status and he didn't want to become an enemy of the celestial land of alchemists. Alright, said Shui Baiyao. Only one word. If she lost, she would stop trying to kill Lin Feng. Something else, said Lin Feng. The crowd was surprised, that bastard had many requirements. I'm listening, said Shui Baiyao. I want to say something, I want to make a bet, but I don't want other people to hear. Can I come closer and whisper it to you? What did he want to do? The young men were grinding their teeth. Get closer to the celestial girl. Make a bet. Shui Baiyao was curious but said coldly, come closer. Lin Feng smiled and got closer to Shui Baiyao. There was a few centimeters between them now, so the young men around her were furious. Shameless bastard. What do you want to tell me? Asked Shui Baiyao. I have a very powerful high-quality holy weapon, if I am unlucky and you do kill me, I am willing to give it to you, said Lin Feng using telepathy. Shui Baiyao blinked and looked at Lin Feng. Why would Lin Feng be so nice? Why would he give her an amazing treasure if she killed him? What do you mean exactly? Asked Shui Baiyao using telepathy. If I win, I need a holy pill, explained Lin Feng. First, he had made her agree to fight him at the same cultivation level, then, he told her he had something for her if he lost. And now if he won, he wanted a pill from the celestial land of alchemists. What pill? Asked Shui Baiyao. My friend is an incredible beast and she has a noble's blood. She has a very, very high social status. During her transformation process, she used all her strength and was severely injured by other people, so she returned to her animal state. I want her to turn back into a normal human being again, explained Lin Feng. He seemed nervous. He hoped Shui Baiyao had that kind of pill. Obtaining something from the celestial land of alchemists was difficult, so Shui Baiyao was his only hope. That battle was a large gamble. Shui Baiyao stared back at Lin Feng. He had been smiling the whole time, but now, he looked nervous. Now, she understood what Lin Feng's motivation really was. Chapter 1124, Qiu Yuxian's double personality. Qiu Yuxian finished killing those people, turned around and glanced at Lin Feng, but she looked expressionless as before, as if she didn't know him. An arrow moved towards Qiu Yuxian, but not fast enough. Qiu Yuxian grabbed the arrow and broke it with her bare hands. By Qiu Luo, the crowd wondered. Qiu Yuxian's silhouette flickered as she left. Lin Feng followed closely behind her. They quickly approached a tavern. Taverns in Tiansu town couldn't be compared to taverns in Yangzhou city, for they were bigger. There were powerful deployment spells prepared for experts. There were small pavilions filled with thick and rich abstruse energies. All of that had a price though. People had to be rich to get in. Qiu Yuxian chose a simple yet clean room as she walked in the courtyard. Lin Feng continued to follow her calmly. Qiu Yuxian turned around and glared at Lin Feng. "Why do you keep following me?" "Why do you want to kill Bai Qiu Luo?" asked Lin Feng, ignoring her question. "He tried to kill me, now I'm trying to kill him." "What does that have to do with you?" "I thought you couldn't explain it," said Lin Feng, smiling indifferently. "Even though you practice mercilessness cultivation and you say you don't want to have emotions, you haven't given them up. You killed 68 disciples from Tianlong Divine Castle, and now you chased Bai Qiu Luo from western Bahuang all the way to central Bahuang. You did all those things because of me, am I right?" "You're thinking too much. All of this has nothing to do with you." "You say that, but you can't even look me in the eyes," said Lin Feng, ignoring her mercilessness energies. Qiu Yuxian turned around and walked towards her room. Lin Feng followed her and entered her room. Qiu Yuxian turned around and said coldly, "If you continue following me, I will kill you." "Kill me then," said Lin Feng calmly. He continued walking towards her. Her mercilessness was becoming even more intense. "Stop." Lin Feng ignored her. "I will kill you for real," said Qiu Yuxian, raising her hands as a cold moon appeared. "Don't hesitate then," said Lin Feng with a resplendent smile. Qiu Yuxian's moon descended towards Lin Feng's arm, but he didn't release any qi, he just continued walking towards her. Qiu Yuxian was startled as she recalled her moon, but it was too late. It broke apart and cut Lin Feng's arm in several places. Gaping wounds appeared, but Lin Feng ignored them and arrived in front of Qiu Yuxian. "You can't," said Lin Feng, smiling. He got even closer to Qiu Yuxian and he was still smiling. She shouted furiously, "Go away." "Tell me what happened," said Lin Feng. He was convinced that something had happened to Qiu Yuxian since he last saw her. She wasn't a merciless person, so why was she practicing merciless cultivation? Lin Feng stretched his hands and put them around her waist. Qiu Yuxian shivered. She looked at Lin Feng and shouted, "You better remove your hands." Seal. A terrifying strength invaded Qiu Yuxian's body and sealed her pure qi. Qiu Yuxian shuddered as she looked at Lin Feng. She looked like she was going to cry as she shouted, "Take your hands off me." However, her strength was sealed. Lin Feng hugged her and pushed her on the bed. "Lin Feng, stop," begged Qiu Yuxian. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had pushed her onto the bed, and now he was on her, oppressing her. She looked confused, she even blushed. "You have no emotions, so you don't care, right?" said Lin Feng, lying on top of her. "Let go of me, please," begged Qiu Yuxian. Lin Feng pulled up her robe and her flawless skin appeared. He put his hands on her thighs and stared into her eyes. "If you don't tell me what's going on, I will make love to you with so much passion. Then we'll see how you are afterwards," said Lin Feng aggressively. He didn't look calm like before. Qiu Yuxian looked perturbed, her face was deathly pale but she also looked aroused. If Lin Feng made love to her, would she stop practicing mercilessness cultivation? She would then belong to Lin Feng forever. But how could she tell him? There was someone else inside her. CRR, Lin Feng pulled down her robe, now he could see her breasts entirely. His heart started pounding furiously, like a beast. Boom! Mercilessness energies burst from Qiu Yuxian's body and surrounded Lin Feng. His blood instantly felt like it was going to freeze. Qiu Yuxian looked at him, she looked like a stranger. Dangerous. Lin Feng rolled aside as the bed broke into 1,000 pieces. Qiu Yuxian stood up and threw herself at Lin Feng. Don't you want me to kill you? Said Qiu Yuxian in a cold way. She was slightly smiling though. She looked both menacing and sexy at the same time. Qiu Yuxian's chi changed again, now she looked like a peerless cultivator, emotionless, merciless, evil. Who are you? Asked Lin Feng suddenly. It was Qiu Yuxian, but had someone cast a body capture spell on her? Go back to your wife, said Qiu Yuxian lowering her head. She sounded hurt and solitary. What was wrong with Qiu Yuxian? Lin Feng, tell me, do you want me to become your sex slave? Said Qiu Yuxian raising her head and looking at Lin Feng in a helpless way. She slowly walked towards him. She stretched her hand and caressed Lin Feng's chest, however, it made him feel ice cold. If he dies, I'll kill myself, shouted Qiu Yuxian suddenly. Then, her hand stopped moving again. You're not Yuxian, said Lin Feng. How come? How could there be two Qiu Yuxians? Chapter 1124-2, Soon Getting Nature Pills. According to what you've just told me, your friend needs nature pills. Those kind of pills contains the energies of the earth and sky to revive someone's vitality. They can heal people's skin, bones, viscera, everything. That pill has to be at least a high-level holy pill. Even I can't obtain such pills. Why would you bet that? Asked Shui Baiyao slowly. Nature pills contain the energies of the earth and the sky, they could heal people and even improve their abilities. They were extremely precious. Apart from the emperor of the celestial land of alchemists, only a few old alchemists could concoct such pills. Making him concoct pills wouldn't be easy. Nature pills. Lin Feng frowned. He hadn't thought it'd be so difficult to obtain those pills. However, Lin Feng dreamt of getting them one day. And in that case, he really needed them for Meng Qing. Please, can we have more privacy? Asked Lin Feng. Shui Baiyao understood. She released some seeds which instantly sprouted. Then, vines appeared and surrounded them. Then petals appeared. In a few seconds, they were alone in a closed white lotus. What are they doing? The crowd was astonished when they saw that. Lin Feng and Shui Baiyao were using telepathy to talk. And now Shui Baiyao had created a gigantic white lotus to prevent people from looking at them. Some people felt envious and even jealous. In the white lotus, Lin Feng wanted to release his godly awareness, but she prevented him from doing so. She wasn't injured anymore, so she was extremely strong. Besides, she had a celestial body. Even at the same level as Lin Feng, she was infinitely stronger than Xian Yuan. The celestial land of alchemists had also taught her many spells, skills and techniques. However, he didn't have a choice, he needed those nature pills. Lin Feng released demonic strength and qi. It was as if a devil had tried to tarnish a holy being's soul. He then took out a black sword which contained demonic qi. Shui Baiyao looked surprised. That kind of demonic qi could swallow her whole. Come back. Lin Feng recalled his demon sword. That sword is terrifying, but I have the celestial body spirit. That sword is good for people who practice demonic cultivation, but for us it's useless. It wouldn't be enough to ask the elders to concoct pills for you, said Shui Baiyao honestly. Lin Feng didn't say anything. He took out his Tianji sword. That's a middle-level holy weapon. Lin Feng took out his bao, his halberd, a black shield, a terrifying purple blade. Shui Baiyao was surprised and fixedly staring at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was wondering what she was thinking. They're all broken, said Shui Baiyao. Lin Feng had been lucky, he had probably found some historical vestiges. Indeed. They're all ancient weapons. Those weapons aren't useful to me, maybe the celestial land of alchemists can use them. Maybe the elders of the celestial land of alchemists can fix them. These are incredible weapons, said Lin Feng, trying to convince at Shui Baiyao. What do you think? Aren't you afraid that I could simply steal them from you? Asked Shui Baiyao. She was looking at Lin Feng in a strange way. Lin Feng had asked her to create the White Lotus so that nobody could see all his precious weapons. I trust you, holy girl, said Lin Feng, smiling in a resplendent way. Besides, I am convinced you can defeat me, and if you defeat me, you'll be able to take them all. You want to save someone, that person must be extremely important to you, said Shui Baiyao, smiling indifferently. Lin Feng wanted to put his life at stake to save someone else. It wasn't only about the battle, even if he won, wouldn't she tell everyone about his treasures? Even if he won, he could be in danger forever because of those treasures. Lin Feng smiled and said, if that's enough, I hope you can ask the elders of the celestial land of alchemists to concoct nature pills for me first. What you mean is that you want me to have the pills with me before we fight? Indeed. I trust you. Those pills were extremely precious. If Shui Baiyao didn't have them with her, even if Lin Feng won, maybe the elders of the celestial land of alchemists wouldn't concoct them for him. Why would they? You're so confident, said Shui Baiyao, trying to examine Lin Feng. If you have them, we can fight. I have all my treasures with me at all times. You have only seen a tiny part of my belongings. If I die, you'll be able to take everything. Lin Feng didn't directly reply to her question. Only a tiny part. She was curious. How come he was so rich? All right, I promise you, but those pills need time to be concocted. Therefore, we might have to wait and fight for 10 days or more. When I have them, we'll fight, promixed Shui Baiyao. Lin Feng smiled in a resplendent way. He wasn't angry or nervous, he was just smiling happily. When Shui Baiyao saw Lin Feng smile, she was surprised. Who could guess that he was ready to put his life at stake for those pills? Who was that beast he wanted to save? I'll wait for you, said Lin Feng, still smiling. Then, the White Lotus slowly opened itself. Shui Baiyao and Lin Feng could be seen by the crowd again. Shui Baiyao left and Lin Feng left too. The crowd was curious to know what happened in there. Why had she let him off? Lin Ruotian and Meng Ba wanted to say something, but Lin Feng said nothing, so they didn't ask anything. One day later, Shui Baiyao and the elders came to know that Shui Baiyao needed nature pills. Some people had even heard about that. Nature pills were incredible and needed energies from the earth and sky. The elders of the celestial land of alchemists agreed. Some people learnt that it was because Lin Feng and Shui Baiyao had made a bet. Shui Baiyao had put nature pills at stake and Lin Feng had offered some precious treasures. Many people in Sword City were talking about it. A disciple from Tiantai who had broken through to the 5th Tianqi layer had many precious treasures, needed nature pills, and had made a bet with Shui Baiyao. Lin Feng quickly became famous from that gossip. Some people also learnt that he had ranked first at Emperor Yu and Emperor Shi's recruitment process. Everybody was talking about Lin Feng in Sword City. Why did a cultivator of the 5th Tianqi layer need nature pills? The event in Fortune City hadn't started yet, so there were many people remaining in Sword City. If Shui Baiyao hadn't protected Lin Feng, many people would have attacked him already. Shui Baiyao didn't want Lin Feng to die before their battle. However, many people had a strange feeling. Outside of the inn he was staying at in Sword City, many people were spying on Lin Feng. He could sense it. He knew that Shui Baiyao hadn't talked about those things, so only those who were with her from the celestial land of alchemists could have talked about it. Even if he won against Shui Baiyao and obtained the nature pills, people would chase him and try to kill him for those pills. But for nature pills, for Meng Qing, Lin Feng had no choice. He could only obtain nature pills from Shui Baiyao. Chapter 1125, Secret and Mysterious Influential Group. Lin Feng was staying in a palace. At that moment, he was sitting cross-legged with his Tian Xian stone in hand. He had also released his celestial book spirit. At the same time, inside his celestial book spirit, there was a gigantic sun and a gigantic moon. It was an entire small world with dazzling golden lotuses which contained the 10,000 things of creation. Even though Lin Feng was sitting in the outside world, he could sense everything with his spirit. It was as if he were sitting on the main road practicing cultivation. He could clearly sense everything that was happening around him. Lin Feng was omniscient like the sun and the moon when he communicated and fused together with the earth and sky. He loved being in that meditative state. He released incredible sword energies. In his awareness, it was as if the earth and sky had become swords in response. That world was calm and peaceful, so if that sword moved, the earth and sky would surely collapse. The 10,000 things of creation are alive. Emperor Wu Tianjian used a myriad of swords and buried them in his grave. They all had their own souls and they were alive. Lin Feng was studying this. That day, in the grave, he had for the first time sensed sword vitality, especially that one sword which was deeply buried. All the swords respected that sword, it was their king. Lin Feng was studying sword cultivation. He didn't consider swords as objects anymore. He now considered each thread of sword qi as a living being. Lin Feng now considered swords in general as living beings. Lin Feng was in a mysterious meditative state. Once again, he was visualizing what had happened in the grave. Lin Feng had never really understood the world of swords. He had never learned a powerful sword skill even. He didn't even understand any abstruse energies. How could he improve? Lin Feng had already broken through to the 5th Tian Qi layer. He had to break through to the 8th Tian Qi layer and then he would ask Mu Chen and the others for help. After the Tian Qi layer, he would become a Zun cultivator. How could he achieve that? Lin Feng felt lost. He only knew that Zun cultivators could control abstruse energies and that the stronger Zun cultivators became, the better they could control abstruse energies. For example, Ho Qing Lin could control reincarnation abstruse energies and make things grow older. There were many forms of abstruse energies. Lin Feng could already control 3 forms of intent. Were they going to become abstruse energies? If he wanted to learn other forms of intent, and later abstruse energies, what did he have to do? Lin Feng had thought about those things before. Now, he was going to Fortune City. If everything went well there, he'd become stronger and maybe he'd get some hints to progressing. His plan was to go to Fortune City, then wait for Meng Qing to completely recover. Then he'd isolate himself again to break through to the Zun Qi layer. Terrifying sword qi started emitting buzzing sounds. He condensed that qi to create swords. Lin Feng was starting to understand how to control swords a little better. His sword intent slowly started to change. Boom! Loud sounds were heard and Lin Feng started shaking. The room where Lin Feng was staying started crackling. Someone is attacking Lin Feng. It doesn't look good, someone wants to steal Lin Feng's treasures. Suddenly, some people rushed to Lin Feng's room. Those people didn't want to kill Lin Feng though, otherwise their attacks would have reached him. Stop, said someone coldly. Some old people suddenly appeared and released energies which surrounded Lin Feng. Nobody could get close to him. The celestial land of alchemists. They're protecting Lin Feng. The crowd was incredulous. People from the celestial land of alchemists were protecting Lin Feng. Why? But nobody found that surprising actually. Shui Baiyao and Lin Feng were going to fight, so the members of the celestial land of alchemists already considered Lin Feng's life in their hands, as well as his precious treasures. They couldn't let anyone else steal his treasures before that. Tian Tai wouldn't be able to say anything if Shui Baiyao killed Lin Feng because Lin Feng had challenged her himself. Who are those people? They're all Zun cultivators, thought the crowd. All those strong cultivators were releasing dazzling energies. The members of the celestial land of alchemists didn't have the advantage it seemed. You better leave. The celestial girl from the celestial land of alchemists and Lin Feng are going to fight soon, nothing can happen until then. Lin Feng cannot be attacked, otherwise, people will think that the celestial land of alchemists did it, said someone extremely loudly. Their voice rolled in waves in the air. Lin Feng was their prey, so many people had plotted against them. If Lin Feng wins, I don't think the celestial land of alchemists will let him live, said a person in black clothes. What was going on? A moment before, that person in black clothes wanted to capture Lin Feng, but now they were getting angry, saying that the celestial land of alchemists was going to kill him. Even the members of the celestial land of alchemists didn't understand. That fight has nothing to do with you. Whether Lin Feng will die or not, we don't know, his life is in Baguio's hands, replied the members of the celestial land of alchemists. We'll wait until the battle then, however, no matter what, Shui Baiyao can't kill Lin Feng. Otherwise, not a single member from the celestial land of alchemists will leave Sword City, said the person in black clothes coldly. Then, he and his group disappeared. The crowd was surprised. The members from the celestial land of alchemists wouldn't leave the city if they killed Lin Feng? How insolent, shouted the strong cultivator from the celestial land of alchemists. They were furious. Who were those people who were threatening them? Who are those people? Why do they want to capture Lin Feng? Why should Shui Baiyao spare Lin Feng's life? Everybody was confused. Those people seemed extremely strong, otherwise, they wouldn't have threatened the members from the celestial land of alchemists. Even though the members from the celestial land of alchemists were furious, they controlled themselves. They couldn't do much anyways. Lin Feng was still sitting cross-legged in the palace. Sword Qi was rotating around him as Nanai swords made of Qi appeared around him. From the outside world, people couldn't see the swords, but they could sense the sword intent. Level 8 sword intent, the crowd was surprised. Lin Feng was monstrously strong. The palace was even cracking. Long Teng, Gu Xiao, and the other members from Tianlong Divine Castle were together. Gu Xiao seemed furious. He's not weak, we need to kill him as soon as possible, said someone. Gu Xiao glanced at him and that person immediately shut up. Intent doesn't mean anything. I can still kill him with just one hand. Long Ting knew that there were tensions between Tianlong Divine Castle and Lin Feng. Of course, if you fight him, you'll crush him. Even if he becomes stronger, you'll always be able to destroy him, said someone else. Unfortunately, the celestial land of alchemists doesn't allow us to attack him now, otherwise, I'd kill him now, said Gu Xiao with murder in his eyes. He wanted to kill Lin Feng more than anyone else. Chapter 1126, Long Ting's aggressivity. Long Ting looked at Gu Xiao and said calmly, you'll have the opportunity to kill him sooner or later, but for now, you can still humiliate him. Now? Gu Xiao frowned and whispered, what about the cultivators from the celestial land of alchemists? You don't need to kill him, you'll just humiliate him, repeated Long Ting walking towards the place where Lin Feng was practicing cultivation. Gu Xiao's eyes twinkled and he smiled coldly. He followed Long Teng. Lin Feng's sword intent had leveled up, so he couldn't let him continue being that lucky. Lin Feng, shouted Gu Xiao. His voice rolled in waves. He wanted to disturb Lin Feng while he was practicing cultivation. Qi dashed to the skies. Long Teng looked at the palace and said, "Don't worry, we won't harm him." Then, they recalled their qi. Gu Shao started laughing frantically. He slowly walked in the direction of the palace where Lin Feng was. Many people noticed him and thought he was cruel. He was disturbing Lin Feng while he was practicing cultivation. "Lin Feng, last time, you escaped and didn't die. You killed my brother so you won't live for long," said Gu Shao, grinding his teeth, hoping Lin Feng would hear him. However, Lin Feng's eyes remained closed and he was still surrounded by sword qi. Slowly, swords appeared and were becoming more distinct. Gu Shao frowned. Lin Feng had ignored him. Boom boom. The floor that Lin Feng was sitting started crackling. "Shameless bastard," said someone coldly. It was Meng Ba. He blocked the attack and ran in the direction from where the qi originated. Tianlong Divine Castle's people are so shameless. Lin Rua Tian also arrived. He was glaring at those shameless people. "Weak as you are, how can you talk about Tianlong Divine Castle," said Long Teng. He jumped forwards and released energies in Lin Rua Tian and Meng Ba's direction. A dragon appeared and roared. "As strong as a dragon. He's got a celestial dragon body, no wonder," thought the crowd. Long Teng looked domineering and brutal. Lin Rua Tian and Meng Ba threw themselves at the dragon. The dragon was actually pushing them back. "You look like fireflies fighting against the sun, die," said Long Teng aggressively. In a flash, dazzling lights invaded fell on them. A terrifying dragon appeared again and flew towards Lin Rua Tian and Meng Ba. Lin Rua Tian and Meng Ba condensed all their strength and blocked the attack, but blood splashed out of their mouths. They both turned deathly pale. They were considered geniuses in the northern part of Ba Huang, however, it was still difficult for them to fight Long Teng. Even though he was stronger than them by one cultivation level, his dragon body was terrifying. "You want to die," said Long Teng, who was still blocking access to Lin Feng's room. Many people in the distance sensed all those powerful energies. Long Teng could really kill Lin Rua Tian and Meng Ba. "Move." "He wouldn't dare kill me," said Lin Feng to Meng Ba and Lin Rua Tian using telepathy. They glanced at each other, they both had blood on the corner of their mouths. They glanced at the Long Teng and the others. "I thought Tiantai's people were amazing, but in the end, they're afraid to die. Useless pieces of trash. In Fortune City, Tiantai's people will get crushed. After Lin Feng's death, we'll kill you too so you can join him in hell," said Long Teng aggressively. Ho Qing Lin and Mu Chen had humiliated Tianlong Divine Castle, they were still upset about that. They couldn't wait to be in Fortune City and kill Tiantai's people mercilessly. Gu Shao continued walking towards Lin Feng. He laughed coldly and said, "I know that you heard everything, you watched your friends get injured and did nothing. If I were you, I wouldn't hide." Lin Feng ignored him and continued releasing whistling sword qi. "We'll see how long you can hide," said Gu Shao while continuing to move towards Lin Feng. The floor was breaking under his feet with each step he took. However, at that moment, a dazzling sword light appeared and Lin Feng opened his eyes. "Die!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. 10,000 swords were whistling as they dashed to the skies. He was releasing level 8 sword intent to oppress Gu Shao. Bzzz. Lin Feng's dazzling sword lights condensed and moved towards Gu Xiao's third eye. Gu Shao started running backwards as fast as he could. "Die, die, die." Lin Feng's voice echoed 3 times. His sword energies whistled and dashed to the skies. "Destroy." Golden lights appeared and the sound of a bell resonated. Lin Feng's sword energies crashed onto the golden bell. Finally, the sword qi disappeared. The golden bell shrunk and went back into Gu Xiao's hand. He coldly looked at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. "Even though you've broken through to the 8th Tian Qi layer, you're still a piece of trash. You attacked me by surprise while I was practicing cultivation. Tianlong Divine Castle's shameless piece of trash, and you're somehow considered a genius?" You're just the trash master, said Lin Feng mockingly. Gu Zhao's facial expression looked hideous. Lin Feng's sword intent had oppressed him severely, how humiliating. Humph. You're quite conceited, but as I've told you, Fortune City will become the grave for Tiantai's imperial cultivation disciples. After you die, I will kill all your fellow disciples one by one, said Longting coldly. Alright, I can't wait to see that, replied Lin Feng. He pointed at Gu Zhao and said coldly, you will be the first person I kill. Keep bragging, you're already dead, said Gu Zhao gloomily. He wished he could kill Lin Feng. No need to talk to someone who has reached the end of their life. Unfortunately, he won't see how his friends from Tiantai will die in Fortune City, said Long Teng, then he turned around and rose up in the air. When I'm in Fortune City, I won't let anyone from Tiantai make it to the city, I'll kill them one by one. After that, he disappeared into the darkness of the night followed by the other members from Tianlong Divine Castle. Fortune City's name implied fortune and luck, however, you won't feel that lucky when I get there. You will be cursed by my cursing strength, thought Lin Feng. That night, mysterious people in black clothes attacked Lin Feng by surprise and were blocked by the elders from the celestial land of alchemists and then Gu Zhao. Nobody else tried after that. 7 days later, the elders from the celestial land of alchemists were done concocting nature pills and brought them to Sword City. Shui Baiyao and Lin Feng were ready to fight and they would fight under the moonlight. Many people came to Sword City just to watch the celestial girl fight. They also wanted to see how strong the first imperial cultivation disciple of Tian was. Outside of Sword City, a lifeboat appeared with a beast inside, a Cheong Qi and a young person. Chapter 11:27, Pure Celestial Field. It was dark outside and the full moon illuminated Sword City. Not far from Fortune City, a crowd had gathered around some palaces. They were all looking at the celestial girl from the celestial land of alchemists, Shui Baiyao. She was getting ready to fight. Many people looked at a palace too. They knew that Lin Feng was inside it. During those last 7 days, Lin Feng hadn't come out once. Instead, he had practiced cultivation the entire time. The members from the celestial land of alchemists didn't allow him to leave anyways. Lin Feng, the celestial girl is already here, come out and prepare yourself to die now, shouted a young man hoarsely. How dare he make the celestial girl wait for him? That young man from the celestial land of alchemists went to Lin Feng's palace and crushed a section of wall exposing Lin Feng. You still want to escape? You made a decision, now you have to bear the responsibility for it. Come out and die, said the young man mockingly. Fighting against their celestial girl, Lin Feng really wanted to die. Lin Feng stopped practicing cultivation and glared at him coldly. An intangible sword moved towards him and hurt him. How noisy. You're not the one who's going to fight me, so stop barking, said Lin Feng coldly and disdainfully. He then passed next to the young man who turned around and yelled at Lin Feng from behind, enjoy the last moments of your life. Lin Feng ignored him and landed in front of Shui Baiyao. He smiled and said, sorry for making you wait. Do you have what I wanted? Shui Baiyao didn't reply. She took out a jar containing a dazzling golden holy pill. It's a high-level holy pill. If I lose, it'll be yours, said Shui Baiyao. Lin Feng smiled. He knew what she meant. If he won and obtained the pill, what would happen after would have nothing to do with her. Everybody was staring at Lin Feng. If he lost, the celestial land of alchemists would protect Shui Baiyao. If Lin Feng lost, many people would fight to steal his treasures. Thank you very much, celestial girl, said Lin Feng smiling as before. Lin Feng could see in her eyes that she didn't enjoy these kinds of situations. Let's fight, said Lin Feng. He breathed in deeply and prepared himself to fight. He needed that pill at any cost. In the distance, a beam of light appeared and it emitted the sound of a machine. Little boy, you met another celestial girl, you're becoming as popular as I was as an emperor back in the day. The crowd was surprised and saw Cheong-chi and Huang Fu-long jumping off a lifeboat. Lin Feng saw that Cheong-chi had put on weight and thought it was terribly cute. He looked like a fluffy animal. He knew nothing would happen to Cheong-chi. But surprisingly, he had also brought Huang Fu-long, an ancient beast, a Cheong-chi. The crowd looked at that ferocious-looking animal. Was he insane though? A Tian-level beast actually called himself an emperor. That wasn't normal. Ah, good, I needed a chair and someone just brought me one, said Longting smiling in a cold way. He wanted to take Cheong-chi for his own. Dragon body, said Cheong-chi glancing at Longtang and saying, your shitty dragon body is useless. Even if you wanted to be my servant, I wouldn't even accept you. The crowd was astonished. Dragon body, shitty, useless. That beast was insane. Lin Feng scratched his black hair. Cheong-chi was amazingly insane. Lin Feng, we heard about you so we came to Sword City. The situation is kind of, said Huang Fu-long scratching his head. He didn't feel comfortable. Lin Feng smiled wryly and said, what happened to your hair? Lin Feng realized that Huang Fu-long's hair looked strange as if it had been burnt. Huang Fu-long looked at Cheong-chi and said in a low voice, that bastard used some kind of deployment spell to teleport us away from the Huang Sea and almost completely burnt the place where we landed. If I hadn't run fast, I would have burned alive. In the end, I just lost some hair. Lin Feng was speechless. Little boy, you keep attracting hot celestial girls, I couldn't miss that, said Cheong-chi. Emperor, use a deadly deployment spell to kill all those people who want to kill me. Alright, said Lin Feng using telepathy. Cheong-chi stared at him and used telepathy to reply, you think I'm a Zune-level beast already? Last time, it took me 7 days to cast a deployment spell and I even used some tools from the small world. Now that so many people are watching, I can't cast a deployment spell right now. Try to find a solution. They all want you to become their pet, said Lin Feng. Cheong-chi was furious and said, I know, but I won't let it happen. You're going to die now, so stop caring about the details. After you die, I'll take care of your pet, said a young man from the celestial land of alchemists. Lin Feng glanced at him and glanced at Cheong-chi. Then he said using telepathy, Emperor, you used to be an emperor so I am convinced that there is nothing you cannot do. You're right, said Cheong-chi. His hair had burnt too. Lin Feng pet his head and said, be a good boy. Then, he turned to Shui Baiyao. Cheong-chi was furious, Lin Feng had belittled him on purpose. If anger could give him wings, he'd have them. Snow celestial girl, let's fight, said Lin Feng. Shui Baiyao suddenly started shining. She restrained her strength to the 5th Tian Qi layer. You will not have any chance to defeat me. I will be merciless, so you should use your full strength, said Shui Baiyao indifferently. Baguio, hurry up and finish him, said the strong cultivators from the celestial land of alchemists. Many people were watching them. Shui Baiyao nodded and circulated her energies throughout her body. From under her feet, a snow lotus appeared which became a pure celestial field. It quickly grew wider. Lin Feng was also standing on that pure celestial field. He had the sensation that his pure qi was slowly being drained and that he was being slowed. No wonder they call it a celestial body, she can create celestial planes in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng stands absolutely no chance. He's much weaker than her. Now, he's even stuck. He'd need to be stronger than he actually is to break free from that spell, thought the crowd. It was the first time they had seen the pure celestial field, but they had heard about it before. The pure celestial field could give birth to its own abstruse energies and turned into its own world. The host of the field could bury people inside. Lin Feng took out a flag and people were surprised, a holy weapon. Was Lin Feng going to use a holy weapon? The snow celestial girl had restrained her strength to the 5th Tian Qi layer. Could he use holy weapons? What are you doing? Shouted someone furiously. Surprisingly, Lin Feng wanted to use holy weapons even though Shui Baiyao had restrained her cultivation level. There are some things you just don't have to see, said Lin Feng glancing at those people. Suddenly, his flag turned into an illusion and surrounded them. People couldn't see their fight now, and they couldn't see how powerful their qi was. Lin Feng wants to hide. Does he think he'll win? Thought the crowd perplexed. Surprisingly, he was hiding from them. You're very confident. But in the middle of the pure celestial field, you can't do anything, said Shui Baiyao coldly. Lin Feng looked at her and his pupils became black. How cold, she felt like she was in danger. Lin Feng's qi was the opposite of hers at that moment, it was filled with demonic qi. It's the first time I've used that kind of spell against someone, said Lin Feng jumping forwards. His black energies suddenly enveloped the pure celestial field. Lin Feng then said, in a cold and deep voice, demon skill, endless demonic destruction. Chapter 1128, Deadly Celestial Technique. The terrifying demonic energy enveloped the pure celestial field, weakening it. After a short while, it didn't look that pure or holy anymore, nor did it look snowy white. It looked polluted and even dirty. The 3 Lives Buddha Demon skills was one of the 3 Lives Demon Emperor's skills. It involved an advanced knowledge of demonic skills and techniques. Lin Feng had practiced demonic cultivation during those 7 days, and he had practiced both day and night. Even though he had faith in his own cultivation, he knew that the celestial girl of the celestial land of alchemists had a celestial body and would be strong. He couldn't afford to underestimate her. Shui Baiyao sensed that endless demonic destruction spell was incredibly powerful. She continued releasing pure celestial energies to fuel the pure celestial field, but Lin Feng's terrifying energies were oppressing her. Shui Baiyao raised her head and looked at Lin Feng. He looked like the devil with his hideous eyes and his hair looked chaotic. He wasn't smiling anymore, he looked like a violent and brutal demon. She continued performing hand seals and released pure celestial energies. Suddenly, many hands appeared around her and moved towards Lin Feng. Boom boom. Lin Feng jumped up and under his feet, the ground was black and burnt. His hair was black and had started burning as well. She grabbed Lin Feng's legs, but he quickly got rid of those hands. At that moment, the crowd could see Lin Feng again, but couldn't sense the energies. The flag was still isolating them for the most part. But, they could see that Lin Feng looked like a demon now and had broken the pure celestial field. Now the celestial girl could barely move. Lin Feng hadn't died in one attack like they had thought. Their battle was incredible to watch. Why do I sense the same energies as the Huang Si, thought Shui Baiyao. Her pure celestial energies couldn't oppress Lin Feng anymore, they had no effect. Lin Feng's black energies contained a strange corrosive energy of decay which instantly destroyed her pure celestial energies. Pure celestial lights, turn into an imperial rain and dazzle, said Shui Baiyao. Pure celestial lights came out of her mouth. Neither of them could see the sky anymore. Sharp energies fell from the sky like a rain. Boom! Lin Feng jumped forwards and the pure celestial field cracked. Dazzling energies appeared and they contained level 8 sword intent and level 6 fire intent. They collided against the imperial rain and destroyed it. Even though the crowd couldn't sense their energies, they could imagine just how explosive the opponent's attacks were. Boom boom. Lin Feng jumped again. He was only a few steps away from Shui Baiyao. Even though Shui Baiyao knew many different skills, techniques and spells, she knew it was useless to try them. Lin Feng's aggressive demonic spells were way too powerful. At the same level, Lin Feng's attacks were too scary. However, she had to win, she couldn't lose. Her snow-white lotus and her aura became even more dazzling, she looked like a divine nymph on her lotus. The celestial body can drain the energies of the earth and sky, thought the crowd. Sixth Tian Qi layer. Lin Feng was surprised. With her celestial body technique, she was stronger by one cultivation layer. She didn't violate the rules, it was a specificity of her technique. Since you have such incredible powers, I'll turn into an ever-conquering demon, yelled Lin Feng. He ran forwards and the pure celestial field cracked again. Lin Feng borrowed the strength of the earth and sky to increase his demonic energies and threw himself at Shui Baiyao. She was oppressed by Lin Feng's evil energies, but still looked divine. Shui Baiyao's veil was torn apart by Lin Feng's energies and her face appeared. That's her face, she's so beautiful, she looks like a goddess, thought the crowd. All of a sudden, it was as if they had forgotten about the battle as they were staring at her face. She remained calm and condensed pure celestial energies in her hand. They turned into a blossoming snow lotus and a silhouette appeared in the lotus, a celestial and beautiful silhouette. I can't lose. With the deadly celestial technique, at the same level, nobody can defeat me. Besides, right now I am one cultivation level stronger than you, said Shui Baiyao walking towards Lin Feng. Her celestial lights dashed to the skies. Lin Feng's endless demoniac destruction territory started cracking under the pressure as well. Maybe you have a deadly celestial technique that nobody can defeat at the same level, however, demons can defy the laws of the universe, replied Lin Feng fearlessly. His demonic energies dashed to the skies along with hers. He could sense how terrifying Shui Baiyao's energies were. It seemed like either of them could die at any moment. However, the aggressive demon wouldn't let anyone stop him because he was fearless. No matter how strong his enemies were, he would destroy them. Lin Feng performed some demonic hand signs and terrifying pitch-black and gloomy energies appeared, they also contained whistling sword energies and desolate qi. Boom boom. At the same time, they jumped forwards. Hell and heaven collided. In a flash, it seemed like all the energy of the planet was exploding. Many people hoped Lin Feng was finally dead. But they still didn't know because he had used a holy weapon to hide their energies, what a bastard. They could only imagine how incredible the battle was inside. Celestial transformation, shouted Shui Baiyao. In a flash, a celestial silhouette fused with her body and she turned into an actual celestial being. Demon destruction, destroy, shouted Lin Feng in a deep and demoniac voice. In a flash, all the celestial energies vanished and a terrifying destructive energy crashed onto Shui Baiyao's body. Destroy, shouted Lin Feng furiously. It was as if he had gone insane. Shui Baiyao was moving slower now. Lin Feng ran towards her and grabbed Shui Baiyao. He then suddenly released more demonic energies and looked like a devil. Chapter 1129, Tiantai's voice. Shui Baiyao looked petrified. She couldn't move anymore because the demonic energies penetrated into her body and sealed her strength. Stop, shouted Shui Baiyao furiously. Lin Feng's energies were piercing her organs, it was atrociously painful. At the same time, she spat out qi with each word. However, Lin Feng wouldn't give her any chance. Lin Feng shook her and put his hands on her shoulders, using that leverage to quickly jump over her. He appeared behind her and pressed her body into the ground and released even more demonic energies into her body. Shui Baiyao looked terrified and desperate. She didn't even try to resist anymore, she gave up, she had lost. Lin Feng had injected fire, sword and demonic energies into her body, now her life was in peril. At that moment, the crowd outside looked astonished. Some others looked dumbstruck and furious. Had the celestial girl lost against Lin Feng? What was he doing now? Why was he holding her like that? Was he going to rape her in front of everybody? Asshole, let her go. Put your dirty hands away, shouted all the young men who liked her. Her veil had now fallen on the ground, torn to shreds. The crowd was speechless. Some people had the feeling that they were going to faint. Now, Lin Feng looked like he was hugging her in a perverted way. Celestial girl. Lin Feng didn't dare let her go. I lost, hurry up and leave, said Shui Baiyao, giving the jar to Lin Feng. His eyes twinkled in a resplendent way. Thank you very much. Lin Feng took the jar, let her go and moved away. He took the jar. The crowd saw that Lin Feng had taken the jar. With all the precious treasures he already had, many people thought it was a great opportunity. Kill him and take everything he has, shouted someone suddenly and furiously. Those people were from the celestial land of alchemists. Lin Feng, here, said Huang Fulong to Lin Feng using telepathy. Lin Feng used his agility technique to move incredibly fast. At the same time, a wave appeared near Cheong Chi. Empty space energy. Oh no, stop him. He's using a holy mark deployment spell. Stop him, they can't escape. The crowd burst into an uproar. The strong cultivators were releasing their own terrifying energies. Bzzz. Dazzling lights appeared and surrounded Lin Feng. It was the empty space energy. Then they were starting to disappear. Where are you going? A gigantic hand appeared in the sky, the atmosphere started trembling violently. Lin Feng and Huang Fulong also started trembling. However, in the end, they left. Are they gone? The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng had managed to escape. Boom boom. They heard some sounds coming from far away. They gazed into the distance and saw Lin Feng. They had been attacked during the teleportation process. What's going on? Asked Lin Feng. Huang Fulong, Cheong Chi and Lin Feng had ended up in the distance but not that far away. Someone broke my spell. Who? Said Cheong Chi furiously. He sounded annoyed. Give me more abstruse crystals. Fuck. Lin Feng kicked Cheong Chi's bottom. He was still begging for crystals. Think of a solution now. We're going to die. Do you think I'm not thinking? So many strong cultivators were observing us and we managed to teleport anyway, even if it wasn't far. If we hadn't, you'd be dead now. I used all the abstruse crystals I had, said Cheong Chi. His bottom hurt. He couldn't control the empty space energies, so he needed abstruse crystals for that. Terrifying chi rose up in the air and moved towards Lin Feng. The strong cultivators wanted Lin Feng's treasures, even if they could only get his nature pill. Many Zun cultivators would go insane to get such a pill. Ba. Dear friends, you're chasing one of my young disciples, isn't it a bit over the top? In the sky, dazzling golden lights appeared and blotted out the sky. Many people couldn't move anymore. The monk took out a gold alms bowl which it diffused millions of golden lights. Many people raised their heads and saw a gigantic Buddha who looked quite serious. He was slowly descending from the sky, emitting rumbling sounds. That gigantic Buddha had a golden body. His mouth was moving and he was chanting mantras. A gigantic hand appeared in front of him. He was holding a Buddhist monk in gray clothes. Destroy, said the Buddhist monk in a cold way. The gigantic Buddha hand moved, the hand itself already blotted out the sky. Many people were shaking, including Zun cultivators. One of the strong cultivators from Tiantai was there and had been watching. Escape, many people started running frantically. However, the large Buddha hand fell from the sky and a gigantic crater appeared. Many people gave horrible shrieks and died instantly. You dared kill my people, said someone to the monk in gray clothes. The monk in gray clothes looked incredibly calm and serene. You are Zun cultivators and you dared attack one of my disciples who has only broken through to the Tian Chi layer. Why couldn't we kill you, said the monk indifferently. From now on, if Zun cultivators dare attack my disciples of the Tian Chi layer, don't blame us for attacking yours, said the monk. His voice resonated far away and into the distance. That was Tiantai's voice. How incredible, how strong, who's that, said Huang Fulong with a big smile. He knew that Lin Feng was an imperial cultivation disciple of Tiantai now. My third fellow disciple, said Lin Feng smiling. It seemed like the two emperors had authorized their 9 direct disciples to come out. It was the first time that he saw the sadhu fight. He was as terrifying as Ho Qing Lin and Mu Chen. The 3 best direct disciples were terrifyingly strong. Can I join Tiantai too? Said Huang Fu Long smiling fatuously. Lin Feng replied, I'll ask my fellow disciples. You're really carefree. Do you know what's going on right now? Said Cheung Chi. He was terribly annoyed. What's the matter? Asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng had known what would happen for 7 days now, so he had informed Mu Chen and now one of his fellow disciples came. Maybe the others weren't far either. Enemies we can see aren't scary, the worst ones are those we can't see. Many people have spied on us. The scariest part is that I wasted so many abstruse crystals for nothing, said Cheung Chi. It was so hard to get abstruse crystals. Some people were spying on them at that very moment. Lin Feng was surprised. He remembered those people who had attacked him by surprise the other day when he was practicing cultivation. Were they still observing them? Chapter 1130, Meng Qing's transformation. Let's take the boat and leave, asked Lin Feng to Cheung Chi. Nope, we can't leave. Even though the boat is fast, we can't protect ourselves while we ride it. If we try to leave, those who are secretly spying on us will attack immediately, said Cheung Chi. He looked scared. It was rare to see him like that. If Lin Feng drew too many people's attention, the situation would get difficult for Cheung Chi even. Lin Feng put a ring in Cheung Chi's paw and said, cast a deployment spell and let's wait for them to attack us. Cheung Chi nodded and immediately started drawing holy marks. At the same time, a golden light enveloped the air. The battle was tragic. The sadhu fought alone against a huge group of Zun cultivators. They all took out holy weapons. Finally, they managed to make the gold alms bowl crack some. Some Zun cultivators noticed that Lin Feng looked nervous, and greed appeared on their faces. Lin Feng had underestimated some people's greed. He took out a small animal with white fur and its eyes were twinkling abnormally. She noticed that something wrong was going on. Meng Qing, shouted Lin Feng. She jumped into his arms. At that moment, Lin Feng took out a jar with the nature pill inside. No matter what, he had to give it to her as soon as possible, nobody else could get their hands on it. If the situation became too complicated, he could give up some holy weapons. Kacha! He broke the jar and the energy of the dazzling pill jumped out. Pills of that level possessed their own terrifying power. From the distance, many people saw what he was doing. No! Lin Feng was going to use the pill. Meng Qing, take that, said Lin Feng shoving it in her mouth. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. She looked perplexed. She could sense how incredible that pill was, it even made her shiver. That pill could defy the laws of the universe. Meng Qing, shouted Lin Feng. Meng Qing looked at him, opened her mouth and swallowed the pill. Lin Feng looked at her and smiled in a resplendent way. However, the crowd was shaking. What was he doing? He was giving the pill to a small white animal. He had risked his life for an animal. Shui Baiyao was astonished too, he had put his life at stake for a little animal. Why was that animal so important to him? Meng Qing's body became dazzling and the energies in her body felt extremely strange. She was regaining her strength and her cultivation level was coming back to normal. She was healing completely. Lin Feng, what is? Huang Fu Long was dumbstruck. Lin Feng turned his head, smiled and said, she's my wife. Wife? Huang Fu Long scratched his head. He could also see pride in Lin Feng's magnificent smile. As if he was proud to have an animal wife. At that moment, Xiongqi looked at Lin Feng with hatred. Lin Feng had put their lives in danger for Shui Linglong, Kacha. At that moment, the dazzling gold alms bowl finally broke completely. Many strong cultivators had rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at them coldly. However, a terrifying sword energy fell from the sky and a gigantic canyon was created. It even contained desolate energies too. Boom boom. A sword attacked those who wanted to attack Lin Feng. Some horrible shrieks spread in the air as some people's bodies were cut in two. "If someone dares attack, I'll kill them," said someone at that moment. A cultivator in gray clothes descended from the sky with a sword in his hand, and he was releasing desolate energy. The crowd sensed that they were suddenly growing old and very quickly. Desolate abstruse energies. That strong cultivator understood abstruse desolate energies. One flower, one world. A fresh flower descended from the sky and blotted out the sky. Slash, sword lights illuminated the air as petals were floating around. Another extremely loud metallic sound spread in the air. A purple light moved towards the cultivator in gray clothes. It seemed like the world was collapsing. A strong cultivator rose up in the air who had a thunderhammer in his hand. "Die, go and take his treasures." Many people were running towards Lin Feng. "Grow old," said the cultivator in gray clothes. His desolate energies dashed to the skies. Many people began to move slower and were growing older. Sword drain, sword energies dashed to the skies and turned into a Huangxi marine animal. It seemed like it could eat anything. However, many people still tried to attack Lin Feng. They were flying towards him with their fastest speeds. Not only did they want to kill him, but they also wanted his treasures, including his little pet which had eaten the nature pill. She didn't have time to digest it, so they could still benefit from it a little. They just had to cut into the pet and take the pill. Lin Feng and the others ran away. Xiongqi looked ferocious and said, "If you dare attack me, an emperor, you'll all die." Boom boom. Xiongqi finished casting his deployment spell as two people attacked. One of them gave a horrible shriek and blood splashed. "Die." Lin Feng took out his Tianji sword and he stabbed the enemy's third eye, instantly finishing him. Lin Feng took Meng Qing and put her on the ground. He put his Tianji sword in front of her to protect her. Buzzing sounds spread in the air as a dazzling light emerged from Meng Qing's body and dashed to the skies. Her qi contained holy celestial energies. "What kind of beast is that?" The crowd was surprised. It had to be a special animal. That qi is similar to mine, thought Shui Baiyao looking at Meng Qing. Holy celestial qi. Surprisingly, she could sense a similar qi coming from that animal. Bzzz. More powerful qi dashed to the skies. It was magnificent and resplendent. That animal was slowly transforming as a person appeared. It looked like an illusion or a hologram. He told me he wanted his friend to turn back into a human being. Shui Baiyao remembered what Lin Feng had told her. That must mean that the little animal was going to turn into a human being again. What a beautiful body, and what a celestial qi, the crowd was incredulous. She hadn't finished transforming, but everyone could see how stunning she was. Meng Qing. Lin Feng slowly turned around and looked at Meng Qing. He smiled at her in a resplendent way. He was shivering from excitement. Finally, she gradually transformed into a human being and regained her holy celestial qi. The crowd was in awe as well. How beautiful! They couldn't believe so much beauty could be found in one person. Shui Baiyao slowly walked forwards. That silhouette was like a magnet to her. In the distance, Feng Xian also appeared and she saw Meng Qing. Meng Qing hadn't completely transformed yet, but another stunning woman had just appeared in this world. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.